Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? Go! To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard on the final day of pre-split fixtures. Well, sort of. Celtic are looking to stretch their lead at the top against St Mirren before Rangers try and respond at Ross County tomorrow. It's been quite the week for Dundee. They're out to secure top 6 at Aberdeen with Motherwell against Hibs both in the mix. Hearts, Livy and St Johnstone, Kilmarnock make up your top flight card in what is very much the business end of the season. I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me you have Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
Never mind the weather. Celtic Park, a 60,000 sellout today, and that's because the countdown to the title has begun in earnest. 6 to go for Brendan Rodgers' side, but St Mirren can go there and play without fear of the consequences because they are top 6 nailed on. Motherwell and Hibs want to be top 6. They are game of the day material at Fir Park. But it's Dundee who are the most talked about team in the country. Nothing to do with Tony Docherty and his players. Everything to do with the wettest field in Scotland. But they're at Aberdeen today, so the game will go on. And if Dundee win, they're top 6 officially. Big games, big excitement.
Yeah, big afternoon, like you said there, and a huge one at Celtic Park. After last week's game at Rangers and a credible draw for Celtic, it's important that they build on that with a win and the opportunity to go 4 points ahead. But like you said, St Mirren will be dangerous opposition. Sometimes when you come up against a team that just play freely, it could be very, very dangerous. But all across the country, Motherwell v Hibs, something in that one. Hearts v Livy, can consign Livy. Hearts looking to go in that, keep that good run going. And Aberdeen v Dundee, will that be so pivotal in the top 6 battle?
Well, we can say the weather outside doesn't look good, but I think the fixture looks absolute brilliant this afternoon. Some exciting games. All starts at Celtic Park. Can Celtic get that 3 points? Put a bit of pressure on Rangers. We say it every week. They're playing tomorrow. A lot of good games. Motherwell, Hibs, got to have one eye on Fir Park this afternoon. Aberdeen, Dundee the same. St Johnstone, Kilmarnock, really important for St Johnstone. And I've got to say, you look at the Championship, some good games in the Championship and all the way down the leagues.
It's been the type of week that reminds you Scottish football certainly has its flaws, but let's not forget how important this end of the season is going to be. Big games, top, middle and bottom of the league in the Premiership this afternoon. So let's start at the top, right at the top, because Celtic host St Mirren and Gabriel has teams.
Good afternoon from Celtic Park. It's a big day for the defending champions. The chance to go 4 points clear at the top of the table and really put the pressure on Rangers to deliver maximum points in their 2 games in hand. The Hoops are looking to build on last week's thrilling 3-3 draw in the Old Firm. They were scintillating in the first half but dropped well off the pace in the second 45 to let their rivals back in. Brendan Rodgers will be looking for a full 90-minute performance this afternoon against this Paisley opposition, who've been flying high themselves. Overall, Celtic's form's great, only 1 defeat in their last 17 games. That loss coming in controversial circumstances at Tynecastle. Team news, and a Northern Irishman makes 2 changes to the side that he fielded at Ibrox. Dazen Maida is out with a hamstring injury. We won't know the severity of that until next week. Liam Scales also misses out with a slight strain. They're replaced by Mike Nawrotsky, making his first start in defence since February, and wide man Yang. Captain Callum McGregor is still being nursed back to full fitness after his Achilles scare. He's amongst the substitutes, as is Lewis Palmer. First time he's been in the squad for 2 months. So starting 11 today, it's Joe Hart in goal, a defence of Alistair Johnson, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Mike Nawrotsky and Greg Taylor. Smoky Iwata, Matt O'Reilly and Reo Hatate will be in the middle of the park. It'll be Nicholas Kun and Hyungjun Yang on the wings. Kyogo Furuhashi leads the line. Substitutes: Bain, Ida, Palmer, Lagibielka, McGregor, Bernardo, Forrest, Ralston and Welsh. The boys were talking about it there. St Mirren can play with freedom. There's no pressure on them. They've secured the top 6. But Stephen Robinson wants his side to get that marquee victory. They've lost all of their games against the old firm so far this campaign. And Robinson feels a win here would make people realise how impressive they have been this season, securing back-to-back top 6 finishes for the first time in nearly 40 years. Of course, they're aiming to improve on last year's 6th place finish. Their eyes are on European football. They're currently 4 points ahead of 7th place, but as we know, any of Dundee, Hibs or Motherwell could end up in the top half. 2 changes to his team then, the team that lost 2-1 against Hearts 7 days ago. And Mikel Mandron drops to the bench whilst Kwon is unable to face his parent club. In comes central midfielders Mark O'Hara and Keanu Bacchus, and their inclusion brings a slight change of shape as well. The extra midfielder makes it a 3-5-2 today. So it'll be Zach Hemmen in goal, a back 3 of Marcus Fraser, Alex Gogic and Richard Taylor. Elvis Bomono and Scott Tanzer will be the wing backs, with Mark O'Hara, Keanu Bacchus and Caleb Boyd-Muntz in the middle of the park. Tiosi Olasanya and Greg Kilty are the forwards. Substitutes: Erminski, Bolton, Dunn, Strain, Brown, McMenamin, Jameson, Scott and Mandron. The referee here will be Stephen McLean, and David Dickinson is in charge of the VAR.
Well, Celtic have gone to the Missing Persons Bureau to find a defender. They've got Mike Nawrocki, who is seldom seen. Lagerbielka on the bench, seldom seen. But Brendan Rodgers is making and mending, because the loss of Maeda, I think, is a big blow for Celtic. If he misses the rest of the season, I think it's severely detrimental to their chances of winning the league. But today, they only have to do one thing, and that's beat St Mirren, who have lost their way of late. Only one win in their last 5 games. But, as I said in the introduction, they can go there and play without fear of the consequences, because they are top 6. They can go there and have a go at Celtic. Whether they do that or not, Mark, I don't know.
Yeah, no doubt it was a big blow when Celtic fans would have read the news of Maeda, and a hamstring injury for a player as explosive and dynamic for him could be quite a lengthy one. But we'll give it time to see when he's back. But Yang coming in, it's another opportunity for him, who's impressed at times throughout this season. And then Scales getting an injury. Nawrocki, another big afternoon for him. Everyone that he plays in or gets chosen for just seems to get bigger and bigger, because the jury is still well and truly out over his Celtic career. So it's a big afternoon for a couple of those. And also when you look at the bench, Palmer back, but McGregor might not have been as close to fitness as some thought, particularly me. He has to remain on the bench for this week, but Iwata's still doing a good job in there. So I fancy Celtic today. I fancy them to build on that point from Ibrox last week.
I've said all week I fancy Celtic strongly. I think they'll have enough, especially. I thought their first half performance at Ibrox last week was excellent, but it's a different game today. You wonder, as Hugh quite rightly says, St Mirren are going there, fantastic season, can't deny them, fantastic. Will they have a goal? Which I think would be the wrong thing to do. I think you've got to go with a game plan, especially at Celtic Park and with the squad that Celtic have got. But I just think, because of the importance coming up, Rangers playing Ross County tomorrow, putting that gap again, another 3 points onto it, I think Celtic will have too much to do.
For reasons that we will get to, Mark Wilson, Celtic can go 4 points clear with a win today. When it gets to this stage in the season, were you the type of player that really would have preferred, points in the bag? Does it all matter much in the end? Do we on the outside get a bit obsessed with this psychology of who plays first and who has to catch up and that sort of thing?
I can only speak through personal preference, and I always preferred to play first on the Saturday, get the job done and get the feet up, and hope and pray that something went wrong on the Sunday for the opposition. So I'll be surprised if there's not a lot of Celtic players thinking that way, but they've got a job to do first and foremost. If they get it done, it goes to 4 points. Then the pressure does shift, there's no doubt about that. Doesn't matter if you're playing the team at the bottom of the league or the team second bottom that Rangers will play tomorrow. The pressure is firmly on the shoulders if Celtic have won the day before. So that's the stakes that are set in front of these both sets of players just now. It's great to be involved in, but one slip up could be so costly with only 6 games to go.
Well, I have to put it in the strongest possible terms. If you can't beat a St Mirren team who've only won of their last 5 games in front of 60,000 of your own fans who have sold out the ground, inspired by what happened at Ibrox last Sunday, thinking that Celtic have to tick the boxes 6 times in a row and they're champions. If you fail to do that, that's your fault.
The big thing for Celtic today, and they've come in for a bit of, well, I'm not going to say criticism, but they seem to have this, they play well in one half and drop off at another half.
I mean, that sounds like criticism.
Is it?
Yeah,
Well, I'm not criticising them because
constructive criticism.
Yeah, because they're still top of the league and they could stretch up by another 3 points this afternoon. So it's quite hard to criticise that. But I think if you're involved in Celtic, coming into these last 6 games, the importance of them, you would like to look at. I don't think any team dominates a game for 90 minutes, but Celtic and Rangers are used to dominating games for long periods, and I think that's where Celtic will need to be if they're going to win the league.
Lots to look forward to then at Celtic Park, especially concerning the title race. St Mirren have their own aims to achieve as well. Motherwell against Hibs isn't quite the straight shootout for the top 6 again because of other factors that have been well covered this week, Roger Hannah, but you've got a good game in your hands.
Oh, we've got a very good game in our hands here. I was just talking to the Motherwell Chief Executive Brian Caldwell there, Gordon. You know, he talks to and texts everyone and anyone, and we agreed it was a big game for both these sides chasing the top 6, and maybe bigger for Motherwell, simply given the presence here today of a potential investor. We believe US TV executive Eric Barmack will be here today from his home in Los Angeles. This is the man ready to invest his dollars into the Fir Park coffers. He's a former vice president of Netflix. There's talk of a Drive to Survive style docu-series on Motherwell somewhere down the line. So it all starts today for Eric, and he'll be desperate to see this team and get into the top 6. As you say, it can be done if it's a home win today and Dundee do not take a point from their games against Aberdeen and Rangers, then will be in 6th place. Hibs, they need to better Dundee's result today and then hope Dundee take nothing when they play Rangers in midweek, if they play Rangers in midweek. So it is reasonably confident. The reason Motherwell are here, 3 wins and a draw in their last 5. It's 11 goals in their last 15 games for Theo Bair, who's really on top form, and he'll be a threat to Hibs today. Hibs are in this position because they've had 3 defeats in a draw in their last 5, including a 2-1 defeat at home to St Johnstone last week. They lost here in August and they needed a stoppage time equaliser from Eli Ewan to earn a point at Easter Road in January, so expect it to be tight again. Motherwell have made 2 changes from that 3-2 win at Dundee last week. Stephen O'Donnell is back for Adam Devine, and Lennon Miller comes in for our own Andy Halliday, who I believe has been slightly under the weather and is only on the bench today. So it's Liam Kelly in goal. The back 3 is Dan Casey, Paul McGinn and Shane Blaney. Across the middle, Stephen O'Donnell, Davos Dravkovsky, Lennon Miller and Georgie Gent, and then it's Jack Vale and Blair Spittle supporting Theo Bair. On the bench, Oxborough, Mugabe and Halliday, Shaw, Nicholson and Ibai, Ferry, Butcher and Luca Ross. 2 changes as well for Hibs from that St Johnstone defeat. Nathan Mariah Welsh and Eli Ewan come in for Nectario Triantis and Adam Lafondra, who drops to the bench. So it's David Marshall in goal. Across the back, Chris Cadden, Will Fish, Rocky Bashiri and Jordan Obita. Then it's Nathan Mariah Welsh and Joe Newell, and then Martin Boyle, Emiliano Marcondes and Mizian Merlida behind Eli Ewan. On the bench for Hibs, Wallacott, Hanlon and Levitt, Venta, Stevenson and Lafondra, Tavares, Campbell and Jacob McIntyre. The referee is Willie Collum, who coincidentally was also the referee here in 2010 when the game finished 6-6. The VAR is Don Robertson, and it would be remiss of me, Gordon, before we go any further, to wish our colleague David Friel very good luck tomorrow. He's not in the show today because he is running the Manchester Marathon tomorrow. He has targeted a time of 4 hours and 20 minutes, which, as you know, is exactly the time Daz lasted in Manchester.
He actually thinks he's funny, this boy, doesn't he? Right? I don't find him amusing at all. I wished he would stick to what he's good at, just reporting. Get on with that and move on.
Dazzler, on the basis that David Friel last weekend tipped a no-goal draw at Ibrox, then mate, that might not be speciality time.
Hold on a wee minute.
You could walk a marathon in 4 hours and 26 minutes.
My irony meter just exploded at Hugh Keevins having a pop at somebody else's predictions. What's going on?
What did you predict? 3-0. Hold on a second.
4-0 if Carter Vickers was what he said.
Hold on a second. I knew that Rangers would score 3 goals, therefore the prediction was 50% correct. Unlike David Friel, who said no goals at all.
Yeah, it sounds a bit desperate if you ask me. But anyway, let's go to Pittodrie, because Dundee have had quite the week. Their aim is simple. They'll win the game today, they'll be top 6, and then everything else sort of gets forgotten about in terms of the sporting aspect and the footballing aspect. The pitch debate will rumble on, but Dave Galloway, there's a lot at stake there.
Absolutely, Gordon. It's very sunny but windy here, and the pitch, incidentally, looks fantastic. Both teams have been making headlines for all the wrong reasons, as we well know. A desperately disappointing campaign and managerial upheaval for Aberdeen, with Dundee's much mentioned Dens Park playing surface doing them no favours at all. Hopefully these sides can generate plenty of positivity this afternoon by serving up a feast of entertaining football. Getting a victory would be huge for the Dons, as we all await confirmation of their new manager. Also, they'll be desperate to build up for next weekend's Scottish Cup semi-final against Celtic on a positive note. As for the D's, well, they've been impressive, haven't they, on their top flight return. Clinching a place in the top 6 would be a fine achievement, and they can do just that with a game to spare by getting a victory here. However, as we've touched upon a moment ago, with Hibs just 1 point behind them, anything could happen. It's all really exciting stuff, and plenty resting on the outcome of this one for both Aberdeen and Dundee. Let's take a quick look at the teams then. And Aberdeen have a couple of changes. Duke and Angus MacDonald are in for Junior Hoylett and Richard Jensen. So it's Keller Roos in goals, a back four of Nicky Devlin, Stefan Gartenman, Angus MacDonald and Jack McKenzie. The sitters, Connor Barron and Graham Shinney. Then it's Jamie McGrath, Leighton Clarkson and Duke, with Bojan Majowski leading the attack. Substitutes for Aberdeen today: Doohan, Jensen, McGarry, Phillips, Sockler, Polvara, Duncan, Milne and Hoylett. As for Dundee, well, they are unchanged. John McCracken in goals, a back three of Antonio Portales, Joe Shaughnessy and Aaron Donnelly. Midfield five, the wing backs, Jordan McGee and Dara Costello, with Lyle Cameron, Mo Silla and Luke McCowan in the middle. Scott Tiffany and Amadou Bakayoko are in attack for the Dark Blues, whose subs this afternoon are Sharp, Dodgson, Astley, Main, Lamy, Robertson, Boateng and Mellon. Your referee is Nick Walsh, and on VAR duties here today this afternoon is Gavin Duncan.
Huge games everywhere you look. McDermott Park, it's about a couple of things as well: the battle to stay in the division if you're St Johnstone, and the battle to get the passports out if you are Kilmarnock. Adam Binney has the teams there.
Thanks, Gordon. Good afternoon from McDermott Park. Yes, final game before the split for two sides who already know which half of the table they will end up in. Craig Levein will be hoping that St Johnstone can build on last weekend's 2-1 away victory over Hibernian and continue their bid for league survival. A win today could take them 7 clear of relegation playoff spot holders Ross County before they play Rangers tomorrow lunchtime. The Saints have been inconsistent, to say the least. The last time that they won back-to-back league games was in October-November of last year, but the first 2 wins of that 3-game run came against Hibernian and then Kilmarnock. Could we see a repeat of that today? Well, for Derek McInnes and his players, the objective is very different today. Provides an opportunity to strengthen their grip on 4th position, which would guarantee them European football for next season. They remain 5 points clear of 5th place St Mirren, and the manager has publicly challenged his players to hold on to 4th spot and achieve something special. They make one change to the side that beat Ross County last weekend, as teenager David Watson comes back into the side to replace Robbie Dees, as Derek McInnes opts to revert back to a back 3. The team reads: Will Dennis in goal, a back 3 of Lewis Mayo, Joe Wright and Stuart Finlay. Liam Polworth, Liam Donnelly and David Watson make up the midfield, with Matty Kennedy and Danny Armstrong at right and left wing back, and a formidable pair up front as always, Kyle Vassell and Marley Watkins. On the bench is O'Hara and Ndaba, Dees, McKenzie and Brad Lyons for the first time he's made a squad this year after a knee operation. Balagizi, Stewart, Mackay, Stephen and Van Veen. What a bench, by the way. Unsurprisingly, Craig Levein names an unchanged 11 after last weekend's Easter Road heroics. Dimitar Mitov starts goals, David Kelton's at right back, back three of Ryan McGowan, Andy Considine and Luke Robinson, with Tony Gallagher at left wing back. A midfield three of Matt Smith, Dan Phillips and Max Kukuravi. And up front is Nicky Clark and Adama Sidibe. Sidibe, who could become the first Saints player today to score in 3 consecutive league games since Michael O'Halloran way back in August 2017. On the bench for them is Richards, McPherson, May, Carey, Crawford, Kimpioka, Franjak and Connor Smith. The referee is Callum Scott and the VAR is John Beaton.
And last but not least, Hearts against Livingston in the capital. Fraser Wishart's there.
Of course, it's the last game before the split and different priorities for these two teams. Hearts virtually secure, as we know, in third place in the Premiership, and we also know the possible financial incentives for European football next season. But more imminently, of course, is the Scottish Cup semi-final next week at Hampden against Rangers. But for Livingston, it's quite simple. Anything they get today will help their very slim chances of survival. They're 9 points adrift of Ross County in 11th place, and while catching them looks unlikely, County play Rangers tomorrow, so a draw or a win, however unlikely here today for Livingston, may close that gap before the bottom 6 play each other post-split, when Livingston will hope to pick up some points. But anything other than a comfortable Hearts win would be a huge shock. You look at their attacking options. Lawrence Shankland didn't play last week, but they still beats him on 2-1 in Paisley. He returns today, and with that semi-final in mind, he's one of 6 changes to that winning team. For Livingston, 3 wins in 32 games, only 20 goals scored, plenty of injury problems, they can't even fill the bench. It's really difficult to see them getting anything today. And of course, Hearts fans will be here again in big numbers. Andrew McKinlay, Chief Executive, wanting fans to buy tickets for the semi-final next week in bigger numbers. But Hearts have always had fantastic backing from the supporters, who will expect, and I think they'll get, a few goals today. Looking at the teams for Hearts, they said they've made 6 changes. Out go Clark, Kingsley, Lembakisa, Tate, Forrest and Vargas. Significant comes Craig Gordon, a game today before the semi-final next week, and of course the Euros coming up in the summertime. Can he make that squad? Also Atkinson, Beningame, Oda, Mackay back from injury and Shankland. So they go with a 4-2-3-1 formation. Craig Gordon's in goals, Nathaniel Atkinson, Frankie Kent, Kai Rogers and Alex Cochrane at the back, Benny Beningame and Cammy Devlin in midfield, Utara Oda, George Grant and Barry Mackay across the midfield, and Lawrence Shankland as the lone striker. Substitute Xander Clark, Stephen Kingsley, Alan Forrest, Aidan Denham, Macaulay Tate, Scott Fraser, Kiyosoko Tagawa, Kenneth Vargas and Dexter Lembasika. For Livingston, just one change from a team that got a draw against Aberdeen last week. Stephen Bradley drops to the bench and in comes Jason Holt. They go with a 4-2-3-1 as well. Jamal George, Michael Nottingham, Michael Devlin, Io Obalai and Sean Kelly. In midfield, Jamie Brandon and Jason Holt. Daniel Mackay, Scott Pittman and Stephen Kelly behind the lone striker Tete Yengi. And only 5 substitutes for Livingston: Jack Hamilton, David Carson, Bruce Anderson, Stephen Bradley and Mo Sangari. The referee today is Colin Stephen and the VAR official is Greg Aitken.
Looking forward to that. Plenty of good games to look forward to. Familiar format for us on a Saturday. We get the team news in, that's the important bit. Then we reflect on the week's biggest talking points. I'll give you a couple of minutes to guess what this week's biggest talking point was, and we'll do it next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Setting the scene ahead of some interesting 3 o'clock fixtures in the studio is Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel. The top team round the grounds as we get ready for the action that's about to take place. We do generally pause for reflection on the week's biggest talking points at this stage on a Saturday, and there is only one place to start, specifically the pitch at Dens Park. Roger Hannah, you were in on Monday. We touched on this last Saturday because the Motherwell game was touch and go. Little did we know what the week would have in store.
Yeah, it's been quite a bizarre week. It's almost Scottish football captured in microcosm, isn't it, Gordon? Football's not been kicked and yet has dominated the news agenda for an entire week. And still, we do not know for sure whether or not this game will take place at Dens Park on Wednesday night or not. I think Philippe Clement spoke on Thursday that there was a contingency plan that would be made known by noon on Tuesday. If Dens wasn't fit for purpose again, they would move it somewhere else. I presume that means another Premiership venue that has got VAR installed, that are willing to take the game. But if they don't make a decision to noon on Tuesday, that will almost certainly mean the game being played elsewhere behind closed doors, which is harsh on the fans. Had it been me, once that game was off on Wednesday night, I think the SPFL needed to make a decision on Thursday to say, we're moving the game elsewhere. It will take place next Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, and we'll start selling tickets for the game now so that Dundee fans and Rangers fans could get into the game, because it's going to be potentially huge in terms of the title, potentially decisive in terms of the top six. And what an image does it portray if this game takes place behind closed doors at a neutral venue?
Yeah, Fraser Wishart, we've kind of seen it all in Scottish football. Well, we'll argue about pretty much anything, but it did feel like this was something slightly different during the week.
Yeah, sometimes you can just see things coming, and you can see panic in the eyes of the people at the SPFL as well, because there's very few dates during the season, a few midweeks, when they can play games. And when the Rangers game was originally cancelled, then I think there was panic stations around everybody on the 6th floor. And of course Dundee have complicated it by being so good this year, because they've got a chance of going into the top 6. If they were sitting 9th and they were comfortable and the game didn't matter, you could probably play it after the split, and that's happened before. But now in the situation with whatever went on, and I think the key to this, we discussed it on the show last weekend, for me, is to get to the bottom of what happened last summer. Because once you've made that remedial work, you've got your pitch ready, there's not much you can do. You're stuck with what you've got. So I'm sure there's been an awful lot of work in the groundspeople and people they've brought in over the last couple of weeks, but it's what's going on over the summer period, I think, that needs to be looked at. So it's a hell of a mess. And I think what's often forgotten about this as well is also the Dundee supporters, who've paid their season tickets. They've paid to watch this game, and if you pay for something in life, you want to get your money. You want to get your money's worth as well. So what happens there is for Dundee to handle if it did go behind closed doors. Of course, talk about Tannadice, which is a simple option, but as Roger was saying there, they've not got VAR, they've not got the facilities at the moment. They will have for next season if they get promoted. So all in all, a real mess, and we can just sit and cross our fingers and hope that Wednesday night goes ahead.
Yeah, because Roger, this is split into a few different areas. Obviously, what do we do going forward? How do we fix it this week? What do we put in place longer term? But then also questions asked about how it got to this stage. We had calls last night saying, why wasn't the game played in the free week previously? And it's caused quite a lot of debate across the board.
Yeah, there are a lot of layers to it. I think the most important thing is getting this game of football played now. It can't go beyond this midweek. There's Scottish Cup semi-finals involving Rangers next midweek, and the SPFL need to plan a post-split fixture list, and it's impossible to do that until you know who's going to be in your top 6 and who's going to be in your bottom 6. Long term, the SPFL need to have a real look at Dundee. They've got in a stage, Gordon, as you well know, because Dundee haven't spent enough money on the surface. I'm here at Fir Park this afternoon. Surface has taken an awful lot of rain in the last few days. It's taken an awful lot of rain in the last hour, and it's looking great. It's looking like a Premiership top flight pitch should look in the month of April, and that's because Motherwell spent, I think, £1.2 million on their surface the other year after they were fined by the SPFL. I am pretty sure there will be a fine coming Dundee's way, and there then needs to be pressure exerted on Dundee by the SPFL to make sure we don't go through this pantomime again next season.
I mean, I've seen lots of people sharing the tweet from the summer, which shows that Dundee did do work on their pitch, or relayed elements of it. Clearly something gone wrong in that period, and it's not stood up to the very, very wet conditions. That leading to, Hugh, the phrase climate change used on Clyde One Super Scoreboard, something you don't hear too often. It's been that kind of week.
We struck ground zero last night on Super Scoreboard when a man called from Dundee said he lived half a mile from Tannadice Street, and on Wednesday night his garden was perfect. Now, where do you go with that? Where do you go with a man in Dundee's garden? But my other feeling is that Dundee Football Club have not taken responsibility for this. John Nelms, the managing director, appears to take umbrage at any suggestion there's something wrong. Eric Drysdale introduced us, he's the club secretary, he introduced us to Storm Babette. What that had to do with anything, I have not got the remotest idea.
Well, look, he's obviously played a part, to be fair. I mean, like, there has been a lot of rain, and that's why we're in the situation we're in. Clearly the bit that contradicts a lot of that is Tannadice, is the Tayside Fire Brigade or whoever had their game on down the road the other night. These are the bits that say, well, you can't lean too much into the weather excuse, and Philippe Clement's massive on that. But that clearly has played a part.
Whatever has played a part, and Storm Babette, to the best of my recollection, blew out in January. However, the pitch is clearly not fit for purpose. Dundee have been negligent in terms of looking after their own ground, and at the end of the day, that's where Tony Docherty and his players, that's their workplace. And the club have been negligent with the team's own workplace. So if they are held to account next week, as is scheduled to happen, then they have absolutely no complaint whatsoever. And I'm now fascinated by how Dundee move to a new ground in the timescale that John Nelms has put forward. It would be a miracle if they do. However, we've got to get the top six sorted out, and we've got to hope that if Dundee are in the top six, this pitch does not take us into even more farcical territory.
The measures that appear to be put in place this week, Fraser, I noticed Philippe Clement's version of events differs slightly from the SPFL. They say a decision will be made well in advance of the game. Philippe Clement actually picked a day and a time, if you like. I think he said Tuesday lunchtime, around about when Rangers would be due to set off if they're going to head for St Andrews for a third time. Hindsight is wonderful, I accept that. Should that have been done this week, the week that we've just had? Should this have been sort of taken out of Dundee's hands to a point by now?
Well, it's difficult because supposedly the referee was there on Wednesday at 11 o'clock and the pitch was okay. So what do? You put the game off when the pitch is okay, but we knew there was rain coming in. One of the things about Scottish football is you never get clarity. I mean, there is nothing wrong with saying, listen, sorry, we got that wrong, or here's what actually happened. We don't know. Certainly nothing I've read. Why was the game not played in the week before the Old Firm game? We don't have rules in place to say it must be played in the week before the Old Firm. We just don't know that, and there's nothing wrong with saying, right, okay, something's wrong here, let's fix it. I'm sorry, but let's go and fix it. Let's try and get the best solution. And I say this all the time. We seem to govern our game and run our game, clubs and the governing bodies, by PR and frightened to say the wrong thing. Sometimes things go wrong. We all make mistakes in life. Let's try and make the best of it. And this is where, if Dundee were to say, listen, there's a real problem here, can we get help? People might help them. There might be other groundsmen, there might be other clubs, etc. But we don't seem to be able to get to the bottom of anything. So it's hard to get to the truth because clubs are saying one thing, the SPFL saying another. But let's just try and get the game on, because it is very, very important, because we can't do the post. This is what the split brings. You can't do the fixtures at that point, so it's an awful mess. And I actually felt for Eric Drysdale. I know he's got a wee bit of stick. He's a really good guy. He's one of the game's good guys behind the scenes, and he was thrust out there, and I thought it was wrong. I think somebody higher up, maybe John Nelms, should have been out doing that talking as well. So Eric has my sympathy. He was in a no-win situation trying to defend that.
In terms of the football, Fraser, then the logistics of it, when we can get it on and how it goes ahead, that's of paramount importance, and we'll deal with that in the coming days. In terms of the impact it has today on the top six, Hibs have made their feelings quite clear on that, perhaps even on the title race to a lesser extent. Do you buy that stuff? Is that a concern?
Listen, it is what it is, and there's nothing that people can do at the moment about it, and I know Hibs and Motherwell might feel inconvenienced sometimes in life and sometimes in football. That happens. Of course, if Dundee win today, then it's all settled. You could actually play the Dundee Rangers game after the split, because Dundee will be in the top 6, so that takes care of it. So we might be sitting here talking about this just now, and it is no bearing on the top 6. The game could go ahead in another time. The key to this is the split, and it's getting those fixtures out, because we've got the Scottish Cup next week, but the clubs need to know who are they playing in a fortnight's time. So listen, I think it's football. It's there. Everybody wants to moan, everybody wants to complain. We've all got a problem with it. We should be trying to help Dundee. We should be trying to make sure this game gets on in some way, shape or form.
I mean, Roger Hannah, you are at the fixture that's directly impacted by this for both sides. Stuart Kettlewell made his feelings clear. He's not got so much of an issue. Well, he had plenty of issues with the pitch itself, but in terms of the sporting integrity argument, for him, they're outsiders, they're 8th, they need to win the game anyway and hope for other results. For Hibs, do you understand where Nick Montgomery's coming from, or is this all a bit of a convenient excuse?
No, I do understand where Nick Montgomery's coming from. It comes down to our favourite phrase in the show, sporting integrity. You'll remember, Gordon, as will Daz, a couple of years ago, the excitement when Ricky Lamy scored that goal for Motherwell at Livingston in the 90-something minute, and it took Motherwell into the top 6. Dramatic scene, supporters euphoric on the pitch, celebrating with players. You know, Motherwell could this afternoon have had something as dramatic as that. A win over Hibs, Dundee losing at Pittodrie perhaps, and there could have been another remarkable top 6 adventure for Motherwell with the supporters and the players in euphoric celebrations again. But if Motherwell win today, even if Dundee lose, Motherwell can't celebrate, because they'll have to wait and see how Dundee got on in this game against Rangers. So it is spoiling the last day of the top 6, what could and should be a happy occasion for some side, and we're talking about it through, through claret and amber glasses, if you like. The same goes for Hibs. Hibs could win today and not know whether or not they're in the top 6. So it does spoil it a bit for Stuart Kettlewell and Nick Montgomery, and I can understand why Hibs are annoyed about it.
For nothing other than sport, Hugh Keevins, to give us something else to pull you up on, where and when will this game be played? You think just Wednesday night, Dens Park? Is that the boring?
No.
I don't think so.
No, apparently the weather
light drizzle Tuesday, cloudy Wednesday.
Well, the decision has to be taken on Tuesday. I think the decision will be taken on Tuesday that Dens Park will only be ready for football next August.
Well, they play again at some point between now and the end of the season. I did ask him for my prediction. I brought that on myself. I should know better. Anyway, let's pause, because although we have Wednesday night on our mind, not before we get beyond this afternoon. Huge games everywhere you look, and we go back round the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
15 minutes to go until kick-off in the 3 o'clock games. Celtic, of course, looking to stretch their advantage at the top of the table. St Mirren visitors to the east end of Glasgow, so plenty to look forward to in that one. No Dalziel Maeda, of course, today. Could be out for the rest of the season. That remains to be seen. Callum McGregor back amongst the subs, and the lesser spotted Mike Nawrocki in the team. Only the 6th start for him in the league this season. So Gabriel, it follows that a fair bit of focus on him. I think many Celtic fans suspected maybe that Stephen Welsh would get the nod.
Yeah, Gordon, that's what we've seen in the games when it's been Cameron Carter-Vickers mainly, or Liam Scales out, because they've been the preferred partnership. It has been Stephen Welsh that has deputised in that place, and it really put in the spotlight the signings of Gustav Lagerbielke and Mike Nawrocki, because they were brought in for a combined £7 million in the summer, and we thought, perhaps could both of their futures lie elsewhere if Rodgers doesn't seem to trust them. But it is a big game for Nawrocki, as you say. Not many starts at all this season. It's his first start since February, so a big game for him. And as well for Yang, starting on the left-hand side, Gordon. We usually see him playing on the right, obviously left-footer, likes to cut in, but he's playing on the left, so a big chance for him today. And even Lewis Palmer off the bench, not been in the squad for 2 months. Can he make an impact with Dalziel Maeda? Looks set to be out. It could be for the rest of the season. That left wing berth is there for someone to take.
Now, I have to say, there are a few interesting pieces of team news like that across the country. One that's really caught my eye, though, Fraser Wishart, for a number of reasons, is the fact that Craig Gordon plays in goal today and Zander Clark is on the bench. Now, to state the obvious, this is also about Scotland rather than simply Hearts. What's your reading into that one?
Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. I think you're right, there's significance for Scotland, but for Hearts, they get the semi-final next week, so they're just taking the opportunity to rest a few players, and they bring Craig in. Craig's been playing in the cup ties, and Xander Clark's been the first choice, but and then just speaking to people around Tynecastle, that they are looking at maybe that they could play, well, that's just the stories I'm hearing about, they could play Craig Gordon even after the split. If they secure third place, Craig might get a few more games, and that might set him up for a place in Scotland's squad. I mean, I would take him anyway. I think if he's fit, he's an influence, he's an experienced player. If you need him to go on, I don't think he'd be first choice if he doesn't play many games between now and the end of the season. But if he plays today, plays next week, and then maybe 3 or 4 games after the split, and all of a sudden he's putting himself, I think, right in contention for being first choice when we get to the Euros.
So if Craig Gordon tends to play the Scottish Cup games, you still expect him to play next week, and this is a sort of warm up for that, or does Xander Clark now come back in for the Cup because it's the semi-final stage, or what's your guess?
My guess would be that Gordon will play next week. Craig Gordon's been in the Cup, they tend to do that with the goalkeepers, most squads nowadays when they get 2 good goalkeepers as Hearts have, but this is just to give him a bit more game time and then lead up to it, because he's not played for a number of weeks since the last Cup tie as well, so it's an opportunity. When they're playing Livy, who have hardly picked up any points in the last 5 or 6 months, so they'll probably think an opportunity to give Craig a bit of a run out with next week in mind. And then, as I said earlier, if Hearts all of a sudden with 3 games to go are secure in third place, they might just give him a few more games as well, which have a real positive impact for Craig Gordon personally. But I think Craig will play next week against Rangers when he'll be a bit busier than he is going to be today, I think.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Fraser. I think that Hearts have got one eye on the semi-final. It's ideal to play Craig Gordon today. It's at home against a Livingston side. I don't know if he's got to get a lot of action, right enough, but get him a bit match sharpness for next week, because next week's obviously massive. He's left out a few players, and Fraser's right, it'd be a real dilemma for Steve Clarke if Hearts secure, because Craig Gordon is number 2 choice just now at Hearts, but if Hearts do secure that place, which we all expect them to do, and Craig Gordon starts getting games, it leaves Steve Clarke with a real dilemma, because he can't then come out and say, well, look, he's not playing, he's only played in the cup games, near end of the season he started getting games, he might perform very well. It's a real headache for the Scotland manager for me.
I don't know if Steve Clarke does dilemmas.
I think so, Hugh.
I think he already knows whether he's taking Craig Gordon or not, and I believe he will take him. So, I mean, today I'd have a bet. But
the problem is, right, we'll all admit Craig Gordon is a fantastic goalkeeper, right?
I don't think he would take him if he played no games between now and the end of the season.
But if he does play games,
then that can change.
Exactly, and that's why I'm saying I think it's a bit of a dilemma.
Going to be an interesting one. Fraser, you're going to watch Livingston today, and a really remarkable week this, because in any other week the VAR drama that took place at Livingston against Aberdeen last week would have been the biggest story in town, but the Dundee pitch came along and knocked it off the back pages for most of the week. For anyone who did miss it entirely, basically the calibration failed on the goal that Aberdeen had ruled out. It meant that the VAR was looking at an image without the lines and sort of guessing, or educated guess, call it what you want, as to whether it was offside or not. The goal didn't stand. Aberdeen clearly unhappy and hit out at that. The Scottish FA responded to sort of admit that there had been a technological failure. Whether this pulls any of it back for people or not, when they've retrospectively been able to assess the goal, it looks like the right decision was made, but quite something.
Yeah, it was quite something, and whoever guessed was fortunate, because they guessed right, and retrospectively it was proven to be the correct decision. But if they guessed wrong, then I think that would have been a huge decision, especially with Aberdeen, in the position they're in, and the games that they've had recently in the top 6, maybe not out with the reach now. But I think we have VAR in Scotland, but it's VAR light. We only have 6 cameras at most of our games. In England, where you look at, they've got 25 cameras. They're actually going to start to bring in semi-automated offsides as well. We've not even got goal line technology, so if VAR's going to stay, and I've made my position clear, but if VAR's going to stay, then we have to accept there's going to be problems. There's just because we've not got enough of the technology in place, and there was a problem. And it's nice to see, as I said earlier about the Dundee thing, look, admit there's a problem, and try and sort it. And that for me would be the first step, to say, right, VAR's not 100% right, there are issues here, how are we going to sort it? Speak to players, speak to managers, speak to everybody, supporters as well, and see if we're going to keep it, then let's make it better. But yeah, fortunate in all angles. As you said, it was kept off the back pages, and fortunate that the guess was right, because if that had been the wrong guess and the Miovski goal should have stood, then I think Aberdeen would have been even more unhappy than they were. That was a strong statement, basically saying we don't want VAR, and there's a few more clubs I think feeling that way now as well.
I suppose this is back to the kind of bigger picture about the full concept, Roger. This idea that, you know, we sort of hoped it would be better or more reliable or more accurate or whatever across the board, because, you know, Mr. Netflix, who might be there at Fir Park, if some of his colleagues wanted to donate money and we spent the same money on our VAR as the English Premier League do, it still doesn't guard you against the odd technological failure. So it's really about making sure that your processes are in place properly for when that does happen.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Gordon. It's a sort of two-pronged argument. Scotland, I don't want to say it's a cheap system. It's not. It's a system that the Premiership clubs can afford to bring in. It's going to have glitches. If anywhere you've got technology, there are going to be glitches. You know, you've seen games go off because floodlights fail. So, you know, at times the VAR is going to fail as well. There was a famous one here at Fir Park when Celtic were here last season. Obviously, the Livy Aberdeen game, I was there for Super Scoreboard last week. The goal went in, Miovski celebrated, and then suddenly there was a VAR check, and there was this doubt. No, everybody left not really knowing why the goal had been disallowed, and that's unsatisfactory. But it's not just the technology. I think I was watching Champions League, Europa League, Conference League games through the week there, Gordon, and they go far more slickly than our games domestically do, because UEFA seem to instruct the VARs differently. We were promised at the very start it would only be interfered with for clear and obvious errors. That's what they do in Europe. The games run far more slickly, far quicker, with far fewer VAR interruptions. There seems to be at the SFA a conscious decision to almost re-referee the game through the VAR, and I'm not sure that's helping the game, and I think clubs are now beginning to think this is the wrong way to go forward with VAR.
Don't worry, I'm sure there'll be no drama on that front this afternoon as we head towards the 3 o'clock games next.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Kick-off just around the corner at the 3 o'clock venue, so let's go back to Celtic Park, St Mirren the visitors, and Gabriel has a recap of the teams.
Yes, they are, Gordon. A massive day here in the title race. Celtic know a 4-point lead would be huge at this stage. Yes, Rangers will go 2 points clear if they win both of their games in hand, but not the easiest of trips. Up to Dingwall, and then that pitch at Dens, or even a behind closed doors game at a neutral venue. Of course, we know the final Old Firm of the league season will be in early May, and it will be at Celtic Park as well. Brendan Rodgers will be comfortable with where his team are heading into those final 5 matches in the split, as long as his side deliver today. But St Mirren have nothing to lose here, Gordon. There's no pressure on the team, according to St Mirren boss Stephen Robinson. They've secured top 6. He wants his side to kick on and reach Europe. And how far would a result here go today towards that? They've not won against Celtic, though, in any of their last 7 attempts. The teams currently out on the pitch, just exchanging handshakes. Celtic in green and white, St Mirren in their red strip. Let's give you a run-through of the teams again. It's 2 changes for the Hoops, with Mike Nawrocki and Yang coming in. Hart in goal, a defence of Johnston, Carter-Vickers, Nawrocki and Taylor. Iwata, O'Reilly and Hatate in midfield. Kun, Kyogo and Yang are up top. For the visitors, it's 2 changes as well, with O'Hara and Bacchus into midfield. It'll be a 3-5-2 formation for them. Hemming in goal, a defence of Fraser, Gogic and Taylor. Pumono and Tanza are the wing backs. O'Hara, Bacchus and Boyd Muntz are in the middle of the park. Olasanya and Kilty lead the line. Referee Stephen McLean just going over with Cameron Carter-Vickers and captain Mark O'Hara before kick-off. And Carter-Vickers stand-in captain today, of course, with Callum McGregor on the bench, entering the huddle with the Celtic fans. As You'll Never Walk Alone plays around the ground. As Hugh was saying, it is a sellout here in the East End of Glasgow today. Green and white flags waving in the corner. A big banner reading Glasgow Celtic on the far side. Sellout crowd is ready. There was heavy hailstones earlier, Gordon, typical Glasgow fashion, but the sun is threatening to break in through the clouds at the moment. The pitch will be wet and ready to zip the ball about. The fans are ready as well, as is Matt O'Reilly. He stands over the ball, and we are just about to get underway in today's 3 o'clock matches.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. Interested in a career in pharmacy? Apply today to join their team.
And just like that, a week where we've done a whole lot of talking is over, and it's back to action on the field in the Scottish Premiership this afternoon. So what does your bragging rights ACCA look like, Hugh Keevins?
I think no Dalziel mayhem is a problem for Celtic. Is Kuhn any better? Is Yang any better? No, they are not. But I'm going to take Celtic to win narrowly against St Mirren. Sorry, Gordon and Gordon. Hibs to win at Fir Park. Hearts to beat Livingston with ease. Aberdeen to beat Dundee. And Kilmarnock will win away from home against St Johnstone.
I'll go for a Celtic win at home. I'm going to go for a draw in the battle of the bad defences at Fir Park between Motherwell and Hibs. Hearts will wipe the floor with Livy. There'll be a draw at Pittodrie between Aberdeen and Dundee, and Kilmarnock will get an away win at McDermott Park.
Simple for me, 5 home wins, move on.
Oh well, short and sweet, thanks very much. You can stay in touch all afternoon on Twitter at Clyde SSB. I will give you the nod when it's time to have your say on the phones a bit later on today, and I'm sure there will be no shortage of talking points there. Get in touch though all afternoon, keep us company. Goals are going in down south already. Man City are 1 up on Luton. We're already getting lots of tweets in, it has to be said. Speaking of Man City, I had one earlier, Gordon DL, from David McKee, who was off to see Man City today. He was told that a legend would speak to them in hospitality before the game, and he was just inquiring as to whether it would be you, but it would appear not. You're busy, you're here.
I've been asked many times to attend some of the home games, but unfortunately duty calls in the SSB studio.
Yeah, thought you would have been on that new Netflix documentary. It's out, the treble winners. You seen that?
No, look, I like lads that have achieved that to go and get the spotlight. I'm not really interested in that, Mark.
Yeah, Colin and Kenny listening from Milan, unhappy though, struggling to catch the golf. They're struggling to get the Masters on the telly. That would just be your idea of hell, wouldn't it?
I would be looking for a next flight out of there, or I'd be going somewhere else.
Is there any way you'll concentrate on this show
this
afternoon?
Well, I'm a bit disappointed because I usually like looking not at you, the screen behind you, and unfortunately the producer's not put the golf on, he's put this football on. I don't know what this football's
I texted him last night about 9:30 or something like 10:15 for a favour, and he responded to me, I'll deal with it tomorrow, I'm too busy watching the golf. How can you be too busy watching the golf to deal with a simple favour?
Masters.
Anyway, huge chance for Kilmarnock early on. A reverse pass from Danny Armstrong, Watkins in the wide right. Vassell was all alone in the box, but he just couldn't quite connect properly, and it goes wide from around 10 yards. Dundee are applying some early pressure at Pittodrie. However, Portales, the boy from Mexican, remember
the
him?
Mexican,
he's been booked for taking down Duke already. So referee's not hanging about there.
Take him off. Walking a tightrope, is he?
If you're going to get booked
early.
Well, I don't know about getting booked early. I don't know if that's the right phrase. I think if you're going to lose a goal, lose it early, you've plenty of time. But bookings, I'm a bit concerned about that, especially when the game is so important.
Motherwell had a bit of a sniff. It was Joe Newell just shepherding the ball out from Lennon Miller. Not a chance as such, just Motherwell trying to go on the front foot. Hibs in their purple kit today at Fir Park. I hope you didn't leave the flat window open. It was torrential before kick-off.
Well, I usually have them all open and then just close them when I get in at night, but I'm not obviously staying there tonight. I'm in someone else's bedroom.
Where is it?
Where's this going?
What are you on about?
I'm dog watching.
I just said watching. I thought that was the end of this long crowd show.
To be fair, I was delighted I said it myself. I'm dog watching, I'm babysitting the dog.
So you've flooded your living room, you're not bothered.
Tell him what you woke up to in the middle of the night.
Oh, the wee and
woke up startled in the middle of the night, he said.
A dog actually cuddling into the back.
Find a dog under the covers cuddling into his back.
I've had a lot of things in my life, but that's one thing I was not expecting.
Honestly, there's a bit of a delay.
Well, maybe.
At Celtic Park early on. I think there's a St Mirren player down who is in a bit of discomfort, so we'll wait and see what the outcome of that is. Clarkson's had a 20-yard free kick turned over by McCracken as Aberdeen try and find some initiative early on. Aberdeen and St Mirren, Aberdeen and St Johnstone fans bound together by anti-VAR banners today. Aberdeen have put one up which says end VAR, quite straight to the point, succinct, and St Johnstone says end VAR, not fit for purpose. They've got a sort of subheading on theirs.
Well, I see Leighton Clarkson, the Aberdeen player, going public in the newspapers this morning saying that he wishes that VAR was removed from Scottish football, following on from the club's official statement saying that VAR is not fit for purpose in Scotland. So we have a problem here. As Fraser has tried to put it, we have VAR, but it's not the full version, and therefore there will be problems.
I think we need to be a touch fair. It is a full version. It is a FIFA approved full version. Is it as full as the richest league in the world? Well, no, but then that would be stating the obvious, wouldn't it?
But when it was such an unfortunate story to come in the same week as the Dundee pitch story, when the officials admit that they took a guess, that just does not look good, doesn't read well, and it gives off the impression that we're a country with matches being played in unsafe conditions in more ways than one, because if they hadn't guessed correctly, the furore would have been awful to behold.
Gordon, just enlighten me. I can understand Aberdeen because of the situation in Livingston. St Johnstone,
I think
just generally the fans have had enough.
There will have been some issues. I think every team has a complaint, don't they?
They got a good win last weekend, so I was just wondering there. But it's interesting. I think a lot of people, when they've seen it coming in at first, most of us were positive for it, but I think it does ruin the game for not just the players, but I think it ruins the game for the supporters as well. But I don't think we're going to get rid of it.
Well, let's see what happens this afternoon. I still think we can try and control things a bit. Let's not spend more time talking about it than we need to. Let's do it at the right times. Let's hope that we don't have too much drama today, and then we will have to get back to it. But in the meantime, Hugh, there should be no VAR required on this, I hope.
First half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I'm sure the 3-3 draw at Ibrox last Sunday is still ingrained on people's minds, and I'm sure you remember the effect of the substitutes in that particular game. So with reference to that, can you name the last 5 players to score as a substitute in an Old Firm game before last Sunday's 3-3 draw? Don't include Adamida or Matondo. Before that game, can you name the last 5 players to score as a substitute in an Old Firm match?
Good question, and I think lots of you will eat that up. So at Clyde SSB, it is a race. Get all your answers down, put them on one tweet, send it over there, and try and beat everyone else to it. At Clyde SSB, Dukes made the most of a challenge by Jordan McGee in the box. Nothing untoward, says the referee. Hibs on the attack at Fir Park, trying to make something happen in what is now glorious sunshine in North Lanarkshire, you'll be pleased to know.
Good news.
Gordon DL, so your living room can perhaps dry out there. And no goals to tell you about. A bit of a disrupted start at Celtic Park, although there is an air of a bit more, optimism, if that's the right word, Mark. Sort of stand up for the champions being sung early on. It has been a tetchy place at times, and it may continue to be if today doesn't go to plan, but the fans trying to do their bit as we reach the business end of the season.
Well, I think that certainly comes off the back of last week in the performance in that first 45 minutes especially. I think the fans can see a product that they like within that, and the way the game ebbed and flowed, and then 3-3 was, my opinion, wasn't a bad result getting it there, and I think a lot of the Celtic fans were the same, so they know what has to be done. Hugh touched on it earlier. 6 wins out of 6 guarantees the title again, so they're quite right to go there with optimism today.
The fact that you sell out 60,000 for a game against St Mirren, the fans are trying to do their bit. Brendan Rodgers has acknowledged the Celtic supporters and what they can do. They've got 6 games, 4 are at home. If you slip up today, it is an anticlimactic start to the whole affair. And that's why it is imperative from Brendan Rodgers' point of view, the players' point of view, that they move 4 points ahead of Rangers, meaning that no matter what Rangers do in Dingwall tomorrow, Celtic will still be top of the league.
But for the fans, I think you're right. They've sold out because they're obviously there to give their team support. They've got to be patient. First and foremost, you've got to be patient because you're playing a St Mirren team, finished top 6. They've been excellent this season. Yes, you highlighted in the last few games their form's not been that good.
No.
They've got decent players, St Mirren.
Oh, yeah.
They're well organised. They will make it difficult. So I think this afternoon, if you're Celtic, it's all about trying to be patient. I know it's hard for supporters, but if you're there to support your team, that's what you need to do.
Even Celtic Park, the most enclosed stadium in the Scottish Premiership, is not immune. The goalkeeper trying to take a free kick and the ball is just blowing away from where it should be. We've got one of these early on.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
I'm not for a second saying it's his fault, but Craig Gordon has conceded and it's a goal for Livingston. A lot of talk about the change in goal for Hearts this afternoon and what it means going forward. It is Livingston who found the back of the net first, and it's a brilliant goal. Stephen Kelly with it, and Craig Gordon was involved. He's rushed out of his box to head the ball away.
Misses it?
No, headed it away, and Stephen Kelly punishes him and it goes into the back of the net. If there's any chance of a miraculous escape from Livy, maybe we're seeing the start of it. A 30-yard brilliant effort from Stephen Kelly.
Of all the games we have starting at 3 o'clock today, that was the least expected piece of news that you brought us there. I would never have thought that Livy would get a goal, never mind this early in the game. And it's incredible that Craig Gordon back, everyone talking about him, and he's implicated, if we can use that word, in Livy's lead.
Yeah, it's a left-footed finish first time, Mark. You can picture it. So Craig Gordon comes out, heads the ball away, and he's punished for it. That doesn't always mean it's wrong of the goalie to do that, so we need to get a look back at it. But nevertheless, he has conceded.
Yeah, that's Livy's only their 21st goal of the season. It's extremely poor, and I agree with Hugh. Did not expect them to get a look in today. But if you're Craig Gordon, it's about taking your chance when you're in, making some important saves and not doing anything stupid. Now, it might not be his fault if he's headed it clear, but I think he'll still be thinking, I've played a part in this. If a goalkeeper comes out and he's left himself exposed,
you're involved, aren't you?
You're involved, so not ideal for him.
I can hear those shouts from Liam Kelly, Sander Clark. Yes.
Sander Clark sitting on the bench.
Yes. But Hearts they've made 6 changes this afternoon. You still expect them to come back, especially at home, especially with the form that they've been in.
It's not always about the number of changes, because one is to bring Lauren Shanklin back in for
stronger. So it makes them stronger up front. But listen, good start for Livy, but we know Livy, the way they go about their business, will probably concede 2 or 3 this afternoon. They're well gone. Even if they did go and get a miracle result today, there's no way back from them. But it'll all be highlighted with the goalkeeping situation, because I said it earlier, if Craig Gordon went in and started performing and back to his best, I think it does leave the Scotland manager with a bit of a headache.
Yeah, it looks like he definitely should have done better with the clearance. He possibly had to come out and get it, but once he got there, really should have done better.
It's never been his strong point, is it, in these games?
Heading.
Coming out his box.
I feel like there were a few at Celtic.
Remember the one at Celtic Park? He comes out to the right hand side in the right back area and he cleans the player out. Did he get sent off that game, or did he get away with it? Actually, it was a ridiculous challenge.
One in Europe as well, was it?
I think there was one in Europe as well. Yeah, so it's not been his strongest point.
Leighton Clarkson's fired one wide. It was a good opening, really. Miovski's cut back, but Clarkson couldn't find the target there. Joe Newell has been booked for a challenge on Blair Spittle. Maybe he's just trying to get the Edinburgh rivalry in for next season, since Blair Spittle's heading to Tynecastle on a pre-contract agreement.
Good move that for Spittle. Deserves it.
You're right, Mark.
Well, no, let's be honest. Just moving up the chain.
Downgrading. Yeah, you can't go for Motherwell Hearts.
Treble the money, possibly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Bigger crowds, better stadium. What else are they? But the traffic's terrible getting in and out of training. That wouldn't be me. And they've got the trams now. Sorry. Fir Park up Airboards Road, training. Dale Park down the road.
How did your trip to Edinburgh go last week?
Yeah.
Did you get in and out?
Oh, when I got home, it was a complete change of plan, and I was told to sit and watch one unwell grandchild, and the rest went to Edinburgh without me. But we've got to go to Edinburgh tomorrow to get them on the train back home.
You better leave at night.
Yeah, I wouldn't fancy that, Hugh, on a Sunday.
Anyway, 13 minutes gone at Celtic Park, and
heavy weather.
Yeah, it's got to be one of
By the way,
those
talking about the
days.
weather, the weather is shocking, by the way, because at this time of
we're
year.
not better than this, though. I mean, I know it's related to the Dundee pitch. Are we seriously on this award-winning, extremely popular radio show?
We've got to, because it's impacting the level of football. This was the time of year that I loved playing. The pitches were in good condition, the sun had started to come out, and summer was just round the corner. It was a brilliant time to play. But every game I switch on in the past seems 3-4 weeks, the wind's been howling, the rain's ruining the pitches.
I'm not talking about the weather. I'm saying it's time for Brendan Rodgers to make substitutions.
Yeah. Who would you have off, Hugh? Just guess anybody.
Yang and Kuhn.
Two wingers.
Kuhn has been Celtic's brightest player so far.
Yeah,
so
it must be a poor game then.
Let's not just default to opinions that were decided upon before the game kicked off.
I said earlier, listen, there's a couple of things here. St Mirren are decent, right? They'll make it hard, they'll sit in, they've got good defenders. There's pressure on Celtic as well. 60,000 there, expecting them to cruise through this and put the pressure on Rangers. There's a lot at stake now. We're at the business end of the season where you've got to hold your nerve, you've got to be big and strong to go and win games, whether it's with style or being ugly, as they say in football. It's all about 3 points.
I just think generally, Mark, St Mirren are too good for this to be easy. They're too organised for this to be easy. You'll remember even during the famous Ange Ball era, there were a few games where the scoreline was convincing for Celtic, but actually
for long periods
it was pretty tough.
Look, it would be fools to say that this is going to be plain sailing for Celtic and Rangers at home in the remaining games in a season where we've seen Aberdeen go to Ibrox, Motherwell go to Ibrox and win, Hearts come to Celtic Park and win. Who else been to Celtic Park and won? Anybody? Kilmarnock. Not Celtic Park.
Celtic lost at Rugby Park, but not at Celtic Park.
But the teams have came to Celtic Park and Ibrox and went away with 3 points. So when you're dealing with the teams at the top end of the table, and St Mirren being one of them, sitting in fifth, then it's going to be a tricky afternoon. Early goals are magnificent when you get them. It just settles everybody, but it's never a guarantee.
And we've not got many of them anywhere. We've got that one that perhaps is a shock. It's Stephen Kelly for Livingston. Remember, we set the scene before. If you're just joining us, Craig Gordon recalled to the Hearts starting 11 today. That is a very interesting one with the Euros fast approaching. He probably will play the Cup semi-final next week because he's played the Cup games so far. He came out, headed the ball clear, but Stephen Kelly made him pay and fired the finish into the back of the net. That's the only goal so far.
I wonder with Craig Gordon, if it works against him, what if he plays poorly? He's already been culpable or involved in the goal against.
He'll play next week.
Wow. What if he has another mistake? Does Stephen Naismith then think the opposite way? He's played himself out the semi-final team.
I think you'd lose your goalkeeper then.
Well, he's 40. What is he, 41?
I know what you're saying, but he's still a big part of what Hearts are doing.
Yeah, you've kind of made your commitment to give him the Cup games, haven't you?
Yeah, and I don't think you can judge him on one game.
But surely there can be no commitment to you playing the Cup ties if you think, no, I'd be better off sticking with Sander Clark for this game. Surely. And on the basis that Hearts have played Rangers 4 times this season and lost 4 times, you should be thinking about getting the best 11.
Yeah, but I think this is a bit different, isn't it? If it's Craig Gordon, you're kind of assuming that he's giving you as good a chance of getting a result as
you would
Sander
hope
Clark
so,
is.
but the argument only if he's playing well. So if he plays poorly today,
but I think Gordon's point is because it's only one game, is that enough to determine either way that you're playing well or not?
I'd be up to Stephen Naismith. I don't know what type of manager he is, if he's reactive or he is a bit more considered and think
but
it is one
right,
game.
I'll throw this.
By the way, I've misrepresented it for you. It actually wasn't a header when Craig Gordon came out. He did come out. It was a side-footed clearance that fell to Kelly, who was not too far away from him. So I don't think it is going to look too great for Craig Gordon.
I was going to say that's potentially worse.
For me. You've got him out. You've got him subbed at half time.
I actually wanted Craig Gordon to go to the Euros. I thought it would be Kelly.
Fairly chaotic at Fir Park. Blair Spittle's trying to take a corner and the wind is just blowing the ball away constantly. Going to see the old get your teammate to line, put a finger on top of it.
That was one of the good
I genuinely think they might have to. Hatate's had a good strike there from inside the box. It's saved. Best chance so far for Celtic. On a serious note, Motherwell took that corner short, but only because they had to. See, when it starts having that impact on the game, it's a bit...
The game becomes in danger if the wind's that strong.
What do you mean, because they had to?
Because he couldn't have the ball sitting long enough to take a run up and cross it in. So he basically just got fed up, put it down, passed it 2 yards.
Like a wee hole, don't you? A wee divot. But then can't get much loft under it.
That ruins the game, because if you can get a good... We've seen it up where was it last week? Dundee,
yeah.
You know, if you can you cause problems with the wind into the goalkeepers. Dundee scored directly from one. So,
were you worried about the golf at any point last night? Did you think your night was going to get cut short?
Yeah, but stormy over in Augusta. But I've got to say, I'm really enjoying it, so I can't wait for tonight and tomorrow.
Yeah, it's been a difficult day conditions wise. The guys who play the game always tell you that the wind is the worst, and it is having that impact already. As we said, even Celtic Park, which should be, is the most enclosed, it's still whipping round inside there as well. 20 minutes gone at Tynecastle. No Hearts shots on target. I suspect they will get a bit restless if this deficit carries on for much longer.
If you are nailed on third, does that seep into the minds of the players? And it's not quite the same level of intensity.
But do you know something, Hugh? I always waited to the big games were round the corner and probably tried my hardest to keep myself in the team. Because there's two things to that. The appearance money was better and the bonus money was better. So you had to get yourself in that team, that starting 11.
You will admit that you had a unique take on professionalism when you were playing the game.
Look, it was a job, Hugh. Everybody does a job. You get out there, do it best your ability. I was born with the talent of being a footballer. I became a footballer, lived my dream and moved on. But I've got to say, you've still got something to play for, especially the Hearts players today, to say, right, OK, there are a few changes. I know Shankland is a stick on, but other guys will be saying, I want to put it in the manager's head, I want a game.
Yeah. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Hearts 0, Livingston 2.
Whoa.
And it's Stephen Kelly again. He robbed Frankie Kent. He ran into the box. It was a good low finish past Craig Gordon. I don't think the goalie was necessarily to blame, but the Hearts fans are not happy. Livingston just up the road at Tynecastle and leading 2-0.
How do you think Don Cowie feels in Dingwall? It's what? Because it opens the door to the possibility of something remarkable happening. But that's an astonishing scoreline.
Big chance for Ellie Yuan at Fir Park, teed up by Maelida, and it nearly hits your flat window, Gordon Dale. A terrible effort, really. Ryan Strain, who's a really popular player at St Mirren, he's been excellent. He's been injured for a while. He has come on. Elvis Buomono has gone off. He's been struggling for a while. He's been down a couple of times and toiling, so he goes off. So you're just talking about, you said win bonuses, appearance money. Did you see that? Forgive me, I can't even remember where it was. It was in some sort of podcast. There was like a Huddersfield player on it this week talking about the system that they had was they got X amount of £1,000 per point that they picked up, and this went up and up. So by the end of the season, the Huddersfield players were on $7,000 a point going into games.
That's what you're after. Whoever negotiated that is the best captain
I can't believe a club would actually allow that.
Well, stayed up, I think, didn't they? So,
well, it certainly works.
Like,
money talks.
Something like someone then retrospectively figured out, and if you had played like in all the games, it'd been like £800,000 or something.
Imagine that in your holiday fund. Yeah,
I must admit, I put the best bonus structure ever at Ayr, because know what happens, right? No matter where you are.
Hold on, I've got another one of these to tell you.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's for Kilmarnock. St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 1, and it is Joe Wright. Liam Polworth cross, picks out Wright, holds off his man and sweeps the ball into the net. He's kind of falling over as he does it, sweeps the ball into the net whilst on the ground, and Kilmarnock lead by a goal 2-0.
Their
Liam Kelly's
consistency.
tipped a shot over from Chris Cadden. Sorry, Hugh.
Their consistency is extraordinary. Derek McInnes has got them the proverbial well-oiled machine now, and Kilmarnock will be a problem to the title seekers post-split, because you won't want to go to that pitch, but Celtic will have to go there.
They could only be 8 points off Hearts here.
Yeah.
If Hearts
they're never catching Hearts, are they?
8 points?
I know they're still to play them, but no, come on.
No, I don't think so either, but I'm just trying to think.
Kelly and the Hearts are just sitting there, and those little spaces that no one's going to catch them, and probably the same for Livy.
Kelly
even though they've
caught,
got from St Mirren,
5 points.
5 points. I just think with the consistency that Hugh says, I think they're okay.
Hugh, remind us of your teaser, please.
Yes. Can you tell me the last 5 players to score as a sub in an Old Firm game? Last 5.
At Clyde SSB, remember, you're looking for all 5 on the one tweet, and it is a race, so let's see what you can come up with. I'll run through some wrong answers if you want to try and steer you in the right direction, although most people are, I'd say, getting it pretty close. Looking at some of the answers, maybe don't have them all, but definitely getting it as close as can be. Charlie Bear would like to throw in Stuart Armstrong.
No.
Okay, that's one of the wrong ones that you want to eliminate. And Big Doc wants to go Kemar Roof.
No.
Okay, keep your guesses coming in then, that might just help you. For St Mirren chance, as a ball flashed across, Greg Kiltie can't quite steer it goalward, but a reminder that it's not all about St Mirren's defending. They are trying to score at the other end as well.
What was the bonus structure? The whole nation's waiting to hear.
Sorry, I forgot.
Oh, we've got 4.
Okay.
Yeah, but fantastic bonus structure, Huddersfield. What I did was when you played, you always got a bonus if you won, right? Every team, no matter where you were in the league, if you won, you got a bonus. I went in and put to players, right, scrap the bonus. Only bonus if you're first and second. If you're third on a Saturday night, you don't get any money at all. And every player went for it and made a right few quid. We finished second that year in the
I would be asking for the bonus before a ball was even kicked.
Well, you think
first
about
letter
it,
in
right?
the alphabet, top of the league. Give me a bonus.
No, but well, that's a good point. Yeah,
there you go.
Don't get me wrong. I was
not
in
for
it
both are in the league
because I was on the bonus system as well. I'm the only manager that had an appearance. Right, I was on the appearance, the bonus money, everything.
I can imagine.
Oh, I was on everything down there. Let me tell you.
Annan 2, Cove 0. We are getting some goals down the divisions as
Thistle
well.
won up against Queen's Park, which puts Queen's Park potentially in trouble because they could fall to second bottom and therefore the playoffs.
Well, Ayr United 1 are both 0. Big night in the Championship last night. It was looking a bit uncertain for a while. Is that Dundee United starting to put their foot to the floor?
I would say so. I think they're flexing their muscles now, aren't they? Showing that at this end of the season where it really matters, they can get the job done. But a good one that, because Morton have been going decent recently. We've seen how hard it was for Hearts when they went down there, but Dundee United players at the top end of the pitch,
falling away a little bit. Dougie Emery and Morton 1 and 5.
Yeah. There was a good Celtic chance a couple of minutes ago I meant to tell you about. Nicholas Kuhn, really good work down the right hand side, showed good strength actually, which maybe you wouldn't associate with him early on in his career. Cuts it back, and Matt O'Reilly's shot just had to go through a real ruck of bodies and couldn't quite find its way towards goal. So Celtic definitely on the front foot, but not troubling the St Mirren goal too much. No goals between Aberdeen and Dundee. Remember, a Dundee win secures top 6, and you don't need to worry about what happens in that regard against Rangers midweek, assuming it goes ahead, of course. Motherwell and Hibs, the ones that are waiting to pounce should Dundee not get the business done today.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Game of the day has to be Tynecastle. Hearts have got one back, and it's George Grant. Hearts 1, Livingston 2. The Stephen Kelly double had Livy looking very good indeed, but a low Lawrence Shankland cross tapped home by George Grant, and it is game on.
Well, a big bit of growling from 18,000 people inside Tynecastle can work wonders on players. So it really is game on, and plenty of time for Hearts to come back from a shocking start.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Good game. 3 goals already.
First effort on goal for Hearts as well. Half an hour gone.
Livy are easy to score against, so that is the thing. I know it's plainly obvious, but 55 goals conceded this season.
56,
yes, well corrected. Yep. You'd expect Hearts to score again, but can they keep the door closed at the other end? That's a question.
Danny Armstrong hits a free kick over the bar. Wasn't too far away. He's about 30 yards out, and just gets a bit too much height on it. Theo Bair trying to break forward and make something happen for Motherwell, but he's well marshalled on that occasion. Ayr United now 2-0 up against Arbroath.
Cruising.
Kelty Hearts 1, Stirling Albion 0. Though we had a Stirling Albion fan on Beat the Pundit during the week, didn't we?
Who did he play?
And we said they were
Please
slipping.
say not me.
Oh, so yeah.
Was
What
it
did
you?
you think?
No, he didn't.
He did. Stirling Albion, you asked him
yeah.
who his favourite player was, and we hoped it was Jack Leach.
Yeah.
Since he didn't say Jack
Did
Leach.
you lose?
I've lost every
Thursday.
time I've played lately. I can't remember the last one I've had.
Yeah, he lost, remember, and then you gave him
Could
the
you-
opportunity for
you read the
a
questions
tiebreaker.
out? Far too
I
slow.
thought it was very fair to you doing that for your own record. I gave you the tiebreaker.
You did, and I appreciate that, but it's all about winning on the day. As in the head-to-head with the caller.
Oh, Hugh Keevins wasn't happy last night. He got taken to a tiebreaker, and the question was asking how many days I had hosted this show for, which even I thought was unfair. I hadn't seen the question. I hadn't flipped my page over. I did think it was ridiculous, so I thought, well, we'll do that for a bit of fun, then we'll go on to the real serious tiebreaker. But the other one that I had in reserve was, what's Andy Halliday's rating on FIFA or whatever it's called these days? Now, clearly Hugh doesn't have a scale here.
What does that mean?
He doesn't know what's good and what's bad, so he gave Andy Halliday a 22, which apparently would be like by far the worst player
literally
on the game.
You'd have got a round of applause for that, my friend.
I literally didn't understand the question.
I must admit, I would have been the same.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Being a Livy fan's not easy, is it? Hearts 2.
I told you.
Livingston 2. Your Taro Oda with the goal. It's a very similar goal to the first one. It's Lawrence Shankland. If he's not scoring, he's setting up 2 goals within the first half an hour. He fires it across. There's Oda with the finish. He's slid in to knock it home, and it's 2-2. What a game.
A 4-goal thriller, and it's only half an hour in.
That's the floodgates open though, Hugh. Hearts will go on to get 5 today. There you are, there's my prediction.
I just like the fact that Fraser Wishart's really shaking off that tag he used to have of, being like
Boring.
the 0-0
Never shaking off
specialist.
that tag.
The 0-0
You give
specialist.
Fraser a hard time,
Nah,
don't
he's
you?
not. Honestly, I've said it before, I get drawn out in the sweep every Christmas night out with him. I've got to stand with him. This year it will not be happening.
I have to say, some cheek from you when Fraser kindly invites you to his PFA Scotland Player of the Year Awards.
That hurt
you,
me.
You patch him for going to see Take That.
I didn't know it was
We
a
discussed this last week.
I'd already made all the
Terrible
arrangements.
decision from you.
By the way, did you see Take That on Ant Deck that night?
No.
No
good.
The past their sell by date, I think you're going
Listen,
in the wrong
I
era
went
to
and
see
seen
them.
Elton John. Right?
He was good.
He was hopeless, man. Honestly, he
was never hopeless.
He never even got 800 steps in. He sat at the piano.
He's a pianist. What's
And
wrong with him?
but he's an entertainer. He come out with a dressing gown on at the
So he could get on the
road. So he could get to bed early. Oh, Hugh, honestly, I've never seen anything like this before in my life. I'm sitting there, don't get me wrong, he was terrific in his day, I'll give him that, right?
Oh, good. I'm sure he's glad.
Okay.
That ringing endorsement.
Ellen, if you're listening,
You
I
were
liked
good in
her.
your day, says Gordon Dale.
I liked a lot of your music, right? Sad songs say so much. But He comes out.
What? Was that supposed to be one of his songs?
Was that
Sad songs say so much?
Was that supposed to be
songs easy?
All right, okay.
Right. So I don't start on with it. But he comes out now. You're sitting there Saturday night and he comes out in a house coat. Come on.
I can't believe that was the Elton John song you chose. It's like the one to illustrate your knowledge of him. But anyway,
like Nikita.
This has been quite the week for you, having a real go at the great and good of their respected fields.
Are you talking about that wee man?
You had a real pop at Gary Player on Thursday night show, which was strange. Now Elton John's getting it. Is anyone safe?
No,
criticism.
Look, slamming everybody.
I will never take away anybody's achievements in life, right? I'm never. But Gary Player is the most annoying wee man I have ever spent 25. In fact, he was following you about, shouting, Daz, come here, I'll show you this one. This is what I'd done in the Masters in 1962. Gary, go away, leave me. Kerr Wilson, go and bore him. He was a nuisance.
You did turn them on to me.
Oh, he was a nuisance.
Oh, bunker.
Oh, jeez, oh man. And then, wait, I'll show you this sit up, right? I'm like, mate, you've got neck muscles, you've no stomach muscles, your stomach's not even moving, it's your neck. He's gone 1, 2, 3, 4.
Really doesn't like Gary Player, does
he lost me at hello. I've no idea what he's on about.
Hugh, honest, you know who Gary Player is, don't you?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, if you ever see him walking down Sauchiehall Street,
Dale's message here.
If you see him walking down Sauchiehall Street, get yourself across the lights.
I know we're on that sort of final straight towards the Euros. We're speaking about Craig Gordon, maybe keeping an eye on Scotland players to see how they're doing. Ryan Porteous has scored, but Southampton do lead Watford by 2-1. Incidentally, did you see this week? Looks like Aaron Hickey won't play again this season. He is back in some sort of training, but he's unlikely to play again, I think, said the Brentford manager. Is that a bit close for comfort?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's a shame for the boy. Definitely one with talent. Definitely one that would start. And whereas with Scotland, who knows when the next Euros is going to come round, or the big major tournament. So that's a sore one. Let's hope Nathan Patterson gets up to speed and continues to play, because we're going to need him. What other options have we got in that area?
Well, Ralston
will come on down.
Oh, by the way, yeah.
Ralston comes into the squad, doesn't he?
When he can't get a game for Celtic.
But he was in the last Scotland squad.
Yeah. You can only choose what Scottish right backs are available. So
if only I was about now.
Mind you, he'll be coming on because there'll be plenty of subs needed the second half at Celtic Park.
Yeah, it would be a sore one because he's been terrific, hasn't he? You know, let's be honest, he's been really good. So be interesting to see. Just need to keep our fingers crossed we go with our strongest squad.
Well, you can't have one argument for Craig Gordon that, not enough game time to go there, and then talk about a player who isn't playing football at all because of injury and convalescence.
Who do you mean?
Hickey.
No, but if he's fit, he'll go. If he gets fit at the end of May, start of June, he's nailed on.
Is he really?
Like any charity bet you so wish. If he is fit, who else are you going to take?
That's not the problem. Is he fit enough to play?
It definitely is. I'm saying if he's fit, he'll be at the Euros.
How long has he been out?
Oh, for ages.
Yeah.
But you have to take somebody.
See your point with the goalkeeper. I know where you're trying to go to, but the difference is we've got 4 goalkeepers. We've not got 4 right backs.
I know, but you're talking about someone.
And they're talking about the squad going up to 26. Look, for the avoidance of doubt, nobody's saying you take Aaron Hickey if he's unfit to play. But if it's even given a chance, if he's fit come the end of the season, he'll be there. He'll be nailed on. And as we said, the squad might go up to
what is the maximum you can take? Is it 26?
No, well, it's still, I think, unconfirmed. It was always said to be 23, and then discussions have started bubbling away in the last week or so that it could be 26.
Yeah, okay. Yeah,
you might get a call up after all.
Oh, that would be good. That I was always a big ambition. Imagine going away to a major tournament. These Scotland players, I was going to say are lucky, but they aren't lucky. They deserve everything they get. Going away to 2 in quick succession.
Well, you say going away to 2. First one was
exactly. Oh no, well they did. They went away to England.
Went to Wembley.
Yeah. But was their training base not in North England or something? Because up here was double bit
somewhere near Middlesbrough or
something like that. Yeah.
Alec Gogic was booked for a sort of off the ball tussle, if you like, with Kyogo. Kind of blocked his run. You know, one of those where Kyogo's trying to steal a march, and Gogic blocked him, went into the book.
I can't see the Celtic game, but I know this: if it's still goalless, they're toiling.
Yeah, again, maybe just a bit disrespectful to St Mirren. We know they're organised and not easy to break down.
Well, yeah, but part of toiling is being unable to break down the other side.
See, I'm honest, you take a 1-0 right now. You would take a 1. Rangers will take 1-0 tomorrow.
Take 6 1-0s, both teams.
Exactly. It's not about toiling. I totally understand where you're coming from, because you expect so much. It's all about getting the 3 points at this stage in the season. And Celtic are, and we've touched on it earlier, usually poor in one half and good in the other. So they might.
And by the way, I don't think this is not a poor first half. It's just one that can't find the break.
I agree with you, Gordon. I said it earlier. I think St Mirren are well organised. They've got good players. They've got good defenders. They'll make it hard.
3-0 Ayr United against Arbroath. Anton Dowds with the goal. So Scott Brown's side very much enjoying themselves this afternoon.
Well, Arbroath doomed, and now playing like a side who know they're doomed.
Yeah, Fraser Wishart's the one who's hoovering up most of the goals. Remember, it's 2, or is it?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Scrap that, it's a 5-goal thriller. Hearts finally take the lead 3-2 to the Jambos. It's an unlikely goal scorer. It is Cammy Devlin. We're not even that close to half time yet, and Hearts have come back from 2-0 down to win to lead 3-2, I should say. Remarkable game.
Livy have clearly annoyed them by taking that 2-goal lead, and now they've wiped it out before half time. And Mark said earlier, 5, 6, they've got to be on the cards now.
Well done to Hearts for coming back from 2 goals behind, because that is never easy. But if there's a team you want to let get 2 goals ahead, it is Livingston. Yeah. I mean, how weak are they? For a team that built, so many of their years on their defence and been tight units and hard to play against and restricting space, they are the complete opposite this year.
It's also a similar goal again. So Cochrane this time with the low cross, Devlin's side foot finish. David Martindale will be going crazy because he'll feel like there are patterns emerging here.
Do you not, as a manager, do you not think Davy's got to the stage where he's just sitting there going, do you know what? I've tried everything.
What do I say?
I've tried everything. I've probably given them days off, brought them in double train sessions, changed their pre-match meals, arrived at the game different time. Davy would have tried everything in his power to try and change us, and sometimes you just got to put your hands up and say, right, let's get to the end of the season and prepare for the championship. And that's what they're all
changed everything apart from the role he's in.
Oh no, he's never going to do that.
But any other side, and we've seen it this season, who are toiling, Ross County, St Johnstone, Aberdeen, all had a look and thought, we better do something here. But Livy, nope, we'll just stick.
Well, they're not really an attractive proposition. If you're a manager looking for a job, you wouldn't.
Oh no! I think a lot of managers who are out of work
would go to Livy.
It's a long time out of work, and there's not that many clubs here, so I think a lot would take that.
But Davy's not got to sack himself. He's not got to look in the mirror and say, do you know what, you've let yourself down here, there's your payoff, on you go. You'll hang on.
Let's round off the teaser, Hugh, whilst we've have the chance.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The last 5 players to score as a substitute in an Old Firm game before last Sunday's 3-3 draw are David Turnbull, Scott Arfield, Jermaine Defoe, Johnny Hayes and Odsonne Edouard.
Well done if you got them right. Congratulations to Billy Lowe, 67, who was in 3rd place, Derek FM in 2nd, and Matondo Prop was the winner of the first half teaser. We'll have a good Who Am I a bit later on this afternoon once those second halves get underway. So well done and thank you for taking part. Will we get any late drama at the end of the first half? Still a couple of minutes to go in most of the games. Celtic have not really come close to scoring, you'd have to say. Plenty of control, plenty of possession, but no real goal scoring threat. We've not come overly close to a goal at Fir Park either, or Pittodrie for that matter.
And those were the 3 venues that had drama written all over them. One for the title at Celtic Park, top 6 places, Motherwell, Hibs and Dundee at Aberdeen, and not a goal. 3 games, not a goal. Meanwhile, in Edinburgh, they're going goal crazy, and Kilmarnock, the kings of consistency, are winning in Perth.
You wonder, Hugh, that if Brendan, like, we don't know, we're just listening to reports coming in, you wonder if he may just look second half of thinking, I'm going to change this, I'm going to bring some.
If Celtic go in 0-0 maybe half time, it's always a sign that things are not going well, and the second half then becomes frantic, frenetic. But by all the reports we're getting, they're not testing the goalkeeper. It's not like they're having shots and goals, or not putting St Mirren under pressure. You wonder if Brendan Rodgers is looking at his bench and thinking, I may just have to change this afternoon.
Half time at Fir Park. Roger Hanna's there.
Yeah, half-time, Gordon. Motherwell 0, Hibernian 0. So as we stand, it's advantaged Dundee in the fight for this last place in the top 6. It's been a rather insipid first half, spoiled by the high wind that's been whirling around Fir Park in the first 45 minutes. Hibs skipper John Newell, he was booked early on by referee Wally Cullen for a foul on Blair Spittle. Hibs and their purple away kit struggling at the start just to get a hold in the game. Jack Vale, he had a shot that hit Will Fish and deflected wide for a corner. It was in great play by Georgie Gent, and Blair Spittle down the left hand side to create opportunities, and took the visitors a long time to get into the game. Eli Ewan has been recalled to the starting lineup today. He had a shot way off target after being teed up by Misery and Meyer leader. Chris Cadden back at Fir Park, then at an angle drive tipped over by the Motherwell goalkeeper Liam Kelly as the visitors sought a breakthrough. Meyer leader and Emiliano Marcondes exchanging passes. Meyer leader just failing to get a shot off as he came into the box to face up to Liam Kelly. An easy save for the Motherwell goalkeeper. At the other end, David Marshall needed 2 attempts in the swirling breeze to take a delivery from Davos Zdravkovsky from the left hand side under his bar. A booking again just before the break. Marcondes fouled by Jack Vale. Willie Collum again flashing a yellow card. It's been scrappy. The conditions haven't helped. We need better in the second half. Remember, Motherwell must win to have any chance in the top 6, and a draw only does Hibs if Dundee lose. Motherwell 0, Hibs 0.
And the other game involved in that top 6 race is at Pittodrie. Dave Galloway has the story of the first half.
Yeah, half time at Pittodrie. It's been decent stuff. Aberdeen 0, Dundee 0. Dundee started brightly, but Aberdeen threatened first. Leighton Clarkson's 20-yard free kick testing John McCracken. Then Bojan Majowski got the better of Joe Shaughnessy, got to the byline and cut the ball back for Leighton Clarkson, but he shot wide when well placed. The D's carved out an opening from a corner, but Amadou Bakayoko's overhead kick went well wide of target, and Luke McCowan drove forward and played in Lyle Cameron, but Kel Roos made the all-important block. Both teams having a go in an open and entertaining first half, which has been very competitive too, and that was highlighted when Graham Shinney was booked for a tackle on Dara Costello. He had a frank exchange of views with D's boss Tony Docherty, who was also shown a yellow card. And then as the half-time whistle beckoned, Lyle Cameron very nearly put the visitors ahead with a shot from outside the box that skimmed the top of the bar. But at the interval, it's Aberdeen 0, Dundee 0.
And it's also half time in Perth. St Johnstone against Kilmarnock. Here's Adam Binney.
Yeah, half-time at McDermott Park. It's St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 1. Joe Wright's 24th minute strike has Kelly in front at the break, but had it not been for Dimitar Mitov and the St Johnstone goal, this game could have already been out of sight. Boos could be heard from the home fans when referee Callum Scott sounded the half-time whistle. Kelly should have taken the lead after just 2 minutes when Danny Armstrong reversed a pass for Marley Watkins to the right-hand side of the St Johnstone box. His cross picked out Kyle Vassell all alone around 10 yards from goal, but he failed to connect with the ball properly and his attempts rolled wide. Derek McInnes' side continued to dominate proceedings. Armstrong wasn't far away with a volleyed effort from a Donnelly cross, and had it not been for a fine Andy Considine intervention, Kyle Vassell could have also found himself through on goal. But the opener eventually arrived in the 24th minute. Liam Polworth doing well to pick up Joe Wright in the box, who remained in an advanced position following a set piece. The defender held off his man and swept the ball into the net whilst falling to the ground. 10 minutes later, Marley Watkins nearly doubled the visitors' advantage when he latched onto a missed pass intended for Kyle Vassell. However, the Welshman's attempt to lift the ball over the outstretched leg of goalkeeper Dimitar Mitov was saved. Matty Kennedy then nearly scored directly from the resulting corner. Mitov was called upon again to keep his side in the game before the break. The Bulgarian international done ever so well to smother Matty Kennedy, who looked certain to knock it in from fellow wingman Danny Armstrong's cross. Half-time in Perth, St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 1.
And it's half-time at Celtic Park. Here's Gabriel.
Yes, there's Gordon. Half-time, and it's 0-0 between Celtic and St Mirren. It was an optimistic mood ringing around the stadium at kick-off, but it's starting to get a bit more restless here. The players need patience from the supporters. They're dominating the game and moving the ball well, but they just haven't broken down St Mirren's stubborn defensive shape just yet. Now, Celtic started on the front foot. Reo Hatate forced a good save from Zach Hemming. First big chance of the game, a well-worked corner cut back to him at the edge of the box. Clean connection, which couldn't fire past the keeper. Did manage to get past all of the bodies though. And Nicholas Kuhn on the right hand side then had some great work, cut the ball back to Matt O'Reilly. Once again found several bodies blocking that route to goal. Got to say, Kuhn playing really well. Celtic's most dangerous player by a mile in that first half, beating his man easily, creating several half chances and starting to look like the man the Hoops thought they were getting when they signed him in January. St Mirren's first foray forward was a ball flashed across the face from the right. Greg Kilty just couldn't turn it goalward. They threatened with a long direct ball a couple of times. Olasanya leading the line well, and they did start to grow into the game in an attacking sense in the final 10 minutes there. Hyun Jung Yang coming into the starting lineup on a left wing for Celtic. He led a counter-attack there in stoppage time. The crowd were on their feet. It looked like a 4v4, but a poor pass as he entered the final third just summed Celtic up really. Neither keeper has been forced into a save just yet. Let's hope for more action in the second half as the game opens up. It could be a huge 45 minutes in the title race, Gordon. The game remains deadlocked at the moment though. Half-time at Parkhead. Celtic 0, St Mirren 0.
And we've even got a late one of these.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Lawrence Shanklin set up the first two. He's now scored the fourth for Hearts from the penalty spot. Remember, Livy were 2-0 up in this first half, and it's now 4-2 to Hearts, and we've not reached half time yet. Have we been everywhere else? I think we have. We're just waiting on Tynecastle. So it's going to be quite the half-time report from Fraser Wishart. I'll tell you what, we'll do that next.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
The one half-time report you're waiting for from the Premiership is at Tynecastle. Fraser Wishart's had an absolute cracker to enjoy.
Yeah, plenty of goals here. Gordon Hearts 4, Livingston 2. A really unusual first 45 minutes. Score suggests been open, but strangely, other than the goals, there haven't been too many other shots on target. For the goal, 7 shots on target in the game and 6 goals. Livy were 2 up through a brilliant couple of goals by Stephen Kelly, and then 4 goals in 20 minutes. Got Hearts back into the game and then gave them the lead. The opening goal came in the 10th minute from Livingston. It was a brilliant finish by midfielder Stephen Kelly. Craig Gordon had to come out of his box to clear a long ball. He didn't clear it very well. His side foot clearance fell to Kelly, who was 30 yards out, so inside left on the left hand side of the pitch, and he lifted the ball over everyone, including the goalkeeper, into the back of the net. First time with his left foot. It was a brilliant goal by the midfield player, and then in 22 minutes the midfield player made it 2-0. Kelly again. It was Atkinson threw the ball to Kent on the edge of his own box. Poor touch by the big Hearts centre half. Kelly robbed him. 1-1 with the goalkeeper. Really composed finish past the goalie, and Hearts hadn't had an effort on goal in the first 25 minutes, and the first effort actually came on 29 minutes, and it was a goal. Devlin fed Shankland inside the box on the left hand side of the penalty box. Rather than shoot, which he could have done in the angle, he squared the ball, and George Grant slid in to tap the ball into the back of the net. 3 minutes later it was level. A similar goal, a long ball sent Shankland through inside left position. He could have shot, but at this time low left foot shot, and it was Oda that slid in to side foot the ball home. Hearts fans though weren't too happy with their team's performance. Yengi had a couple of half chances. He caused Hearts centre backs real problems. Livy still dangerous and looked like they could get a goal, but it was Hearts that got their third on 40 minutes. And again, a very similar goal. Hearts got in down the left. Again, a low cross into the 6-yard box, this time by Cochrane, and again a player slid in to finish, this time Cammy Devlin. Simple goal from a couple of yards. Then with the final kick of the first half, Michael Devlin, the Livy skipper, was shot with a headed pass back towards Shamal George, and nipped Oda. George fouled him. Up stepped Lauren Shanklin to fire the ball into the corner of the net, sent the keeper the wrong way. It was a very good penalty by the big striker. As you can hear, it's been pretty blustering to win. I think both managers will be delighted with the quality of the goals, but the back fours will have to tighten up in the second half. Although same again for me, would do 6 goals in 45 minutes at Tynecastle. Half time here, Hearts 4, Livingston 2.
An incredible game. Let's run through the half time scores then from the Scottish Premiership, where it's Aberdeen 0, Dundee 0, Celtic 0, St Mirren 0, Hearts 4, Livy 2, as you just heard, and Motherwell 0, Hibs 0, St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 1. In the Championship, it's Airdrie 1, Dunfermline 0, Ayr United 3, Arbroath 0, Queen's Park 0, Inverness Cally Thistle 1, and Wraith Rovers 0, Partick Thistle 0. Into League 1, where it's Alloa 0, Montrose 0, Annan 2, Cove Rangers 2, Kelty Hearts 1, Stirling Albion 0, Queen of the South 0, Edinburgh City 0. In League 2, Dumbarton 0, Clyde 0, East Fife 1, Bonnyrigg Rose 3, Peterhead 0, Forfar 0, Stenhousemuir 1, Elgin City 0, and the Spartans 0, Stranraer 0. If the English Premier League is your thing, a full-time score from earlier: Newcastle 4, Spurs 0. At the break, Brentford 0, Sheffield United 0, Burnley 0, Brighton 0, Man City 1, Luton 0, and Nottingham Forest 1, Wolves 1, and your second halves are coming up next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
The Masters, teeing off on Now.
Now he's absolutely launched that.
Oh, now. Woods is in the woods.
Now that's just magic. Now that's a drive.
Oh, now he's just pulled that shot.
Oh, now is this the putt that wins him the green jacket? Now there it is.
Stream The Masters and all of Sky Sports without a contract. Head to nowtv.com.
Sky Sports content streamed via internet. 18 plus. Full terms apply.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast.
With Lucas Volvo. The full electric range is now available on Motability.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
What a sporting weekend you've got. The Scottish Premiership is delivering a tense afternoon in some places, a free-scoring afternoon in others. I've got enough trouble trying to keep Gordon Dalziel away from the Masters that's on one TV screen, and the Grand National is underway as well. So I'll keep you up to speed. If there's anything I can to spread the news and let you know what's happening across the sporting spectrum, we will do. But let's get these second halves properly up and running.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy. From apprenticeships to pharmacy managers, start your career with them today.
We're well back underway at Fir Park, where Blair Spittles hit the wall with a free kick. Not yet at Celtic Park though. Gabriel, any sign of a change at the break for Celtic in particular?
Not just yet, Gordon. I'll let you know when the teams come out of the tunnel in the next 30 seconds or so. But I think Brendan Rodgers might turn to that bench soon. You've got Adam Eder. What an impact he had when he came off the bench last week at Ibrox. Lewis Palmer, he's in the squad for the first time in 2 months. Could he come on to the left wing? And how about Captain Callum McGregor? Break in case of emergency. Obviously trying to ease their captain back to full fitness. But maybe they'll need his influence in the last 30 minutes if it's still a stalemate. They are desperate to go 4 points clear here and really pile the pressure on Rangers. If it's only a draw, Gordon, if it stays the same, winning their final 5 matches might not be enough to win the league. So a huge 45 minutes coming up. Celtic just back out onto the pitch now, and we've got the same 11 players that ended the first half. So no changes for Celtic. I'll quickly run through their team again, as St Mirren aren't out just yet. Hart in goal, a defensive Johnston, Carter Vickers, Nawrocki and Taylor, Iwata, O'Reilly and Hatate in midfield. Kun, Kyogo and Yang are up top. And that's St Mirren re-entering the pitch as well, Gordon. Doesn't look like there's any changes for the visitors. As I said, huge 45 minutes coming up at Parkhead.
They are halfway towards blowing the title. A friend of mine who's at Celtic Park, we can't see the game, but a friend of mine at Celtic Park has texted me to say that Celtic were absolutely dreadful. They were singing "Stand Up for the Champions" in the first half. The crowd will be singing "Stand Up for the Runners-Up" if they drop any points today. They'll have to go to the bench for Ida, James Forrest, course and distance where these matters are concerned, Callum McGregor. They need some form of inspiration because for 45 minutes they have been toothless.
It just feels like a movie you've seen before, Mark. It's not that Celtic don't have all the ball and all the possession. That's a bare minimum you would expect. And they actually did move it with a bit of a tempo early on in the half, but as Hugh says, that's about as far as it's got. There's been no real chances of note, and certainly no goals.
And that is a concern. You know, you want to put St Mirren under pressure, and especially their goalkeeper. If you aren't scoring, you want to create chance after chance and wear them down that way. But I think if you're St Mirren and you're Stephen Robinson, you're pretty happy with how that 45 minutes has went. So this is shaping up to be the biggest 45 minutes so far of the season, purely because it's here in the present and they know the job it needs done. Hugh's right. If they don't get the job done and they slip up,
it's gone. It has gone, because Rangers will beat Ross County tomorrow and will go top and extend their lead at the top wherever the match against Dundee is played midweek. If Celtic conform to the Keevins metric, a draw is a disaster, a defeat's a catastrophe. They are blowing the league and they have 45 minutes to disprove my theory.
There actually has been a change for St Mirren at the break. So Tanser off, Brown on in that left wing back role. So I think that's both wing backs have been changed by St Mirren. Hibs coming semi-close to an opener. Liam Kelly had to claw the ball away after a scramble, just trying to stop Mariah Welsh getting to it in the box. So goalless between Motherwell and Hibs. Anyway, what horse are you looking out for?
I like the one with no jockey at the front that wins it. They're always the good ones. How's it nowhere to go? You know, it's leading the Grand National. It's got no jockey, but it's
just goes to the next fence.
Why is it not just stop? Go away and eat the grass?
Not at all.
You know, why do we need jockeys in? Just put 40 of the horses and tell them to go.
Yeah,
it's not really the insight I was looking for from
no,
you.
It's not.
I am looking for I Am Maximus, but I don't know if it's fair or if it's still in there.
Put it this way, we're near the end. Fence 29 of 30, and there's still a good few horses in with a chance of winning Aintree Grand National. I'm backing the favourite. I Am Maximus.
I bet that. I told you.
I know, but I went for it as well.
Ain't That a Shame? Is that still there?
Oh, no, that fell in the first.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did.
That didn't.
On its way to glue factory.
You're not allowed to make jokes like that, please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Terrible.
That's terrible.
Is that who you're on, Hugh?
Yeah, one of my favourite songs, Fats Domino. Ain't
That
a Shame? Yeah. You made me cry when you said.
Tell you what, here we go, the last fence.
Yeah, last fence. Oh, there's about 16 of them still in with a chance. The one with no jockey is leading. I wonder if.
Back on Planet Football, Liam Kelly has again had to produce a save, this time from Ellie Yuan. So Hibs looking to start the second half quickly. The Motherwell goalkeeper has other ideas. I'll give you a teaser in a second, but let's just hang fire, find out who's going to win this.
Oh, that's there. It's there.
It's a smart Wilson.
Here he comes.
Go on, Maximus. Come on. It's even beat the one without the jockey.
Exactly.
Honestly. Some guys get all the luck.
I think that's it.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
Number 5.
Number 5.
What were you, 7-1?
71, yes.
Did you gamble responsibly?
$3,000 on it.
Please gamble responsibly.
I wish.
Yes, well done, Mark.
Do you want the truth?
I know you're not on it. I know I can tell that, but he is.
Yes. I know he is, because he told me earlier.
I Am Maximus, winner of the 2024 Grand National. There you go. Blair Spittle has headed clear to deny Boyle at the back post. So Hibs definitely with the best of the opening exchanges. Then a real flashpoint at Fir Park. A lot of anger and pushing and shoving inside the penalty box. Blair Spittle, who doesn't see, he's generally quite a composed character. Rocky Bashiri was booked for diving in amongst it all. Blair Spittle absolutely furious about it. You know the man you want, calming influence in the middle, William.
Yes.
He's got a certain way of speaking to players that comes across so well on the pitch.
Best chance of the game for Celtic. It's Kyogo, it's a header, and it is wide of the target. So Celtic still searching for that opener. They've not had loads of chances, they've hardly had any. That one was a real good one. I think Kyogo should possibly have done better.
I would bring McGregor on as quickly as possible, because the crowd will now be in full panic mode, and they know that if Celtic drop any points today, the league has gone.
Didn't really work bringing him on last week, though.
I fully understand that, but he will bring some semblance of calm and order to the proceedings, because this only gets worse from here. It only goes downhill from here, because the crowd get more and more anxious, the players get more and more confused, and St Mirren will score.
I've always thought panic mode starts about 70 minutes. I think they'll be uncomfortable.
75.
I don't think full-blown panic is yet, but you're right, it won't be far away. St Mirren, another change. Greg Kiltie off for Lewis Jameson, an injury there. So St Mirren have made 3 already. I think certainly 2 of them forced, possibly the third as well. Blair Spittle and Martin Boyle have been booked as well in amongst that Rocky Bashiri drama. So Willie Collum's a busy man.
Well, for all the players, I was going to say, for all the players that you can accuse of diving in that game, I don't think Bashiri would have been up there. Yeah.
Ready, Hugh?
Yep.
And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They have Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that is right for you. Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell and Darnley, and Jaguar, Volvo and Land Rover showrooms found in Hillington. Right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today, or even pop into the showroom local to you. Now, back to the podcast.
The Masters, teeing off on Now.
Now he's absolutely launched that.
Oh, now. Woods is in the woods.
Now that's just magic. Now that's a drive.
Oh, now he's just pulled that shot.
Oh, now is this the putt that wins him the green jacket? Now there it is.
Stream The Masters and all of Sky Sports without a contract. Head to nowtv.com.
Sky Sports content streamed via internet. 18 plus. Full terms apply.
Looking to get car or van insurance double quick? To mustard.co.uk. With top insurance providers, a 5-minute pit stop with us could get you out in front in the race to savings. Car or van, work or play. Compare insurance with mustard.co.uk. T's and C's apply. Authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Ollie Shaw and John Ruddy. I've been managed by Tommy Wright and Craig Levine. I won 3 domestic doubles in Scotland, and I won a league title in another European country. Who am I? I played alongside Ollie Shaw and John Ruddy. I've been managed by Tommy Wright and Craig Levine. I won 3 domestic doubles in Scotland and a league title in another European country.
Right, quickly, who am I? At Clyde SSB. We've got one of these at Celtic Park.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
And it's a goal for Celtic. Rio Hatate passed inside. It's a touch. It's a great finish. Celtic have missed him due to injury this season. He's back, and he's back amongst the goals as well. Celtic 1, St Mirren 0.
Sometimes people go too quick and panic too quick. I don't think Brendan Rodgers would have. But I think Celtic fans, and I think Hugh's right to point it out, if Celtic had to drop anything today, it was a long, long road back, but they were still a full second half. It's funny because Celtic have come in with this tag, sort of not at it in the first half, good in the second half, not at it in the second half, but good in the first half. They need to string that sort of a 90 minutes together, but that is such an important goal for him.
Said now that he's going to be huge. You know, not just the game at Ibrox where he played an hour and was influential, but for the remaining games, and his goals are going to be crucial as well. Such a big player, such a good player for Celtic that they've missed for long periods, and that'll just take the stress and pressure off those Celtic players' shoulders and the supporters within the stadium.
One is helpful, that's for sure, but I don't think it removes the stress or the pressure.
That clearly alleviates a
bit.
It does, Hugh. Being on that pitch, it does.
But two, you're home and dry. So they need to get a second one before they can assume anything.
Yeah, he's been an important player, Gordon. I think everyone could see the impact he made, certainly in the first half last week at Ibrox, and getting in amongst the goals today.
I think he made an impact at Livingston, I've got to say. I mentioned that in the show a couple of weeks ago. It was good to see him back. I think he gets 65 minutes that day, if I recall right. He's a terrific player, terrific talent. He certainly makes Celtic tick in the middle of the park. He's a big player for them, and so important for the run in, and that's an important goal he's got this afternoon.
Yeah, great time to score for Celtic. It puts a different feeling on that second half. But if you're St Mirren, you're frustrated, you've done so much well in the first half, tried to go again in the second, and now there's another big chance for Celtic. It's cut back from Johnson. It's just a miscue from Yang though, and he misses it completely. Right, Hugh did give us the full-time teaser just before that goal went in. If you want to see it written down, you can do so at Clyde SSB, and incidentally, that is where you tweet your answer as well. Gordon DL, Mark Wilson, you love to get stuck into the who am I. Have you got any idea?
I've been too busy on the football. I've not really thought about it.
Grand National
and the Grand National and the Masters, okay. Yeah, so I don't even know what the question is, to be quite honest with you.
I think I know the club.
Do you?
I hope.
Let's see.
Well, one of the big clubs. Is it? Yes. Yes. So I'm on the right track.
Okay. Good, Mark.
We'll wait and see.
Oh, Mark's going in with a guess.
Committing a name already at this early stage.
But it's the wrong name.
Rubbish.
Oh, lucky Mark.
Okay.
I think you may have missed the...
Theo Bair has the ball in the net, but the flag goes up. So we'll see if VAR has anything to say about that one. It did look initially offside according to Roger Hanna. Theo Bair is given the old wag of the finger. He's not so sure. He thought he had stayed onside, and VAR is on it. Going to be very interesting to see what happens there. Let's hope the lines are working, the calibration is working. Let's not guess.
Let's not go there.
Or if you want to guess that it was in, then that it should stand, be my guess. But I suppose I should maintain some sort of impartiality on that regard. No goal. Theo Bair ruled out by the finest of margins.
I want to tear him. He'll be back, Gordon. He must be in the running for your player of the year. But tough job to beat Blair Spittle.
It's that season, isn't it? I noticed Motherwell's internal list was revealed the other day.
Who is it?
There was Bair, Spittle, McGinn, Lennon Miller, Stephen O'Donnell, I think, were the list.
Stephen O'Donnell?
So, yeah, Spittle or Bair, you'd have to say, wouldn't you? McGinn's Mr. Consistent, but it's got to be one of those two.
Spittle. It's got to be.
I would go Bair.
Would you?
Yeah.
How about some of the goals Spittle scored?
I know, listen.
I know Bair's been brilliant.
I'm not going to argue with you.
You're just saying that because Spittle's away.
No, I'm not. I just think Bair, to step up to the mark, come in
versus expectation that people had a pretty low bar for you, didn't they?
And he comes facing Johnson. He didn't even know where the goals were. He's been terrific.
Anyway, I know Fraser Wishart's association are out and about collecting votes for the big award, so maybe that's a debate we can get stuck into this week.
See, Fraser can tell me now, because I'm not going. I won't tell him.
Well, I don't think he'll know yet, because I think they're still at voting stage.
No, when he does know,
right,
I think a wee text just to say.
Like, genuinely, like, not even for saying this for dramatic effect, I think if Fraser was to compile a list of everybody he knows in the world, you'd be near the bottom of the list of people that he would trust with that information. Genuinely,
I don't believe it. I think Fraser and I are very close knit.
No.
We text each other frequently at night just to see how each other are going.
I think you'll find that's Motherwell.
What sort of day did you have today, Fraser?
I think you'll find you're talking.
I was touring the world.
I think you'll find you're talking about Motherwell's Player of the Year from 1987.
Was Fraser? Was he? Oh, they must have been hopeless, man.
Stephen O'Donnell right on cue. He's tripped somebody up and it's a penalty to Hibs.
What?
So this game turning on a couple of big moments. It was Will Fish, weirdly, who tried to sort of roll Stephen O'Donnell. He probably did dive in a bit. Fish threw himself down. Willie Collum wasn't too confused by it. He points to the spot Mailida is going to take it. After a real bit of debate, though, Marcondes wanted it. Joe Newell, I think, is wearing the armband. He's tried to.
Oh, that's never good, is it?
Nothing
it's
major.
A bit of debate over
nothing
the penalty.
Major, but
we can now safely say that Stephen O'Donnell will not be Motherwell Player of the Year.
Well, my leader's been excellent, hasn't he, since he signed for Hibs?
Have they checked the penalty? Everything okay?
Yeah, I think so. It looks like it's going to stand. I think Stephen O'Donnell just kind of dived in when he didn't have to. And Will Fish
could be a big goal for Hibs.
You don't really want to get rolled by a centre back, do you? No offence to Will Fish if he's listening, but he won't be listening. But if he listens back,
no, well, I know rolled. It suggests to me he's facing away. Will Fish would be facing away, so just keep him going that way with a centre back.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Motherwell 0, Hibs 1. Maya Leader with the penalty sent Liam Kelly the wrong way, and of course that has big implications in the battle for the top 6, because Dundee are still level at Pittodrie. They then need to play again against Rangers on Wednesday night, in case you hadn't heard, and Hibs have taken the lead.
So as things stand, Hibs would move on to 41 points. Dundee would be on 40 if we stopped the games now, but Dundee would have that game midweek, and the level of intensity would have to be sky high against Rangers, given that you could go top 6 as a consequence.
Well, we're used to a good fight back. Have a look at last week up at Dens, 2-0 down.
Points from losing positions this season.
That's good going,
isn't it?
Is that right?
Yeah, that is good going.
You've still got a bit of hope for Motherwell. It showed great character last week at Dens.
Plus they're playing Hibs, who
they
are
love to lose a goal
at the back.
I think there'll be a real frustration, though, given that, look, an offside goal's an offside goal, but it at least kind of suggests that you're in and around the right areas.
Yeah.
And then to give a relatively soft penalty away up the other end would be, I'm sure, a huge frustration.
Huge time for Nick Montgomery, because the results haven't been good. And rumours in Edinburgh this week, which he was forced to deny, that he's unsettled in Scotland. The family want to go back to Australia. So it's a pivotal time for Nick Montgomery.
Just don't understand why anybody would want to leave Scotland and go to Australia. It just does not sit nice with me at all. I've been there.
If anybody's listening, don't go.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
There's another goal at Celtic Park, and it's gone the way of Celtic. Come on, Hugh, you should know better by now. It's Kyogo, and it's Celtic 2, St Mirren 0. A bit of a stuffy first half. Celtic having no issues in this second. Hatate first, then Kyogo. It's a great header, no stopping it, and it's 2-0.
Well, that's the game over.
Yeah.
So the DL theory that Celtic only play half a game is once again shown to be correct, because dreadful in the first half, delivering in the second half. St Mirren don't score twice or 3 times to spoil Celtic's day.
That tactic, I was going to say, that tactic is good enough. You know, if you get the job done, obviously every manager, every player every fan would want their team to play brilliant for 90 minutes, but if you can keep a clean sheet for the first half and then come out and produce 2 goals within 20 minutes, then
I think sometimes, Mark, we fall into this trap that, especially the big 2, and if they're at home, if they're not winning early, they're not scoring goals again at half time 0-0, it's a panic. The managers know how the game's going. They know when to change it and not to change it. Yes, sometimes they struggle. There's pressure on today, I've said it for day one, there's pressure on to go and get 3 points, but they've come out second half and they're now cruising it, and any panic that was around Celtic Park, that's probably gone by now.
Strange situation for Livingston. So Tete Yengi was subbed in the dugout before the game restarted. Referee Colin Stephen came over and gave Yengi a second yellow card. Now Fraser's saying it's probably for dissent as he went off, but Livy have still got 11 players on because it was just after they substituted them.
You know what, that happened to Brian Graham this year for Partick Thistle. He got substituted, he was walking off, I think he made a gesture to the crowd, and he got sent off then, I'm pretty sure, and they remained with 11 players. So it's quite an unusual turn of events, that.
Very strange. You look confused. What are you confused about?
Right, explain that again.
Tete Yengi's been subbed.
Right.
He's then been sent off. So Livy have still got 11 players on the
pitch.
Right,
okay, right.
Basically, but it all happened pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Motherwell are looking for a reverse from last week. Last week they were 2-0 down. Halliday came off and they came back. Well, they're losing today. They've sent Halliday on, along with Sam Nicholson and Moses Ibiye from last week as well. So he was the match winner. It looks like maybe a change of shape or something, or maybe just a reshuffle, because Stephen O'Donnell is one of the players gone off.
Can you hear those roars coming from Far Park? Halliday coming on. The Hibs bench is erupted.
Very good. By your standards, that was not bad.
I love Halliday.
Halliday 22, as I will always think of him now.
I tell you what, I fancy for him with a wee goal. He likes
a goal against Hibs.
He likes to sneak in and get a wee goal. He won man of match with Hearts, remember? He scored 2.
He did, a Derby double.
Yeah, and then he limped off, kissed the badge. This is what we're looking for, Andy, another badge.
Shanklin's hit the underside of the bar. Hearts, remember, were 2-0 down, 4-2 up. That was all before half time. Incredible, absolutely incredible. What else is happening there? Nothing, just that triple change.
Nothing at Pataudry still?
No.
Still no.
I think this happened the last time he started a game, probably due to just lack of 90-minute action. Nawrocki's gone off for Stephen Welsh. I'm pretty sure the exact same thing happened.
Doesn't he complete a game?
Is Dave telling us is Dundee sitting in and just playing for that point? Or is it an open game? I didn't hear what you said there.
Well, points, no. Well,
a point's good enough, is it not?
No. No, if Hibs are running.
Oh, right enough, yeah.
Come on, Gordon.
Sorry, forgot Hibs were winning.
Liven up.
I forgot Hibs were winning, sorry, my apologies.
Has Nawrocki been taken off because you reckon that Welsh is a better bet just to keep things tight?
It's just more likely he doesn't play very often.
Yeah, around
90
mark.
minutes is
neither does Welsh.
Happened in that. Well, no, but he's only having to play half an hour.
Just the thing with 5 subs now, Hugh, I don't think it's seen as that much of a big deal nowadays. But
when I was checking earlier for his sort of last appearance, I think it was that Motherwell game at Fir Park. I think they did the same. Doesn't tend to finish them.
Take him off at half time that game and bring Carter Vickers on for a different reason, though. I think because Celtic were so poor and Carter Vickers, gave them that option of building from the back.
Anyway, it is Celtic 2, St Mirren 0 as things stand. It is your favourite phrase from this time of the season. Celtic will stretch their lead at the top to 4 points. Rangers will have to try and respond in Dingwall tomorrow and then play catch up on that fixture with Dundee, possibly at Dens Park, possibly elsewhere, possibly Wednesday. We'll check in on it as the week progresses.
I sympathise with Hibs. If Hibs go on and win that and they can't celebrate, I remember the first time Dundee United did it. It was a huge deal when we got into the top 6 and we were able to celebrate it because it meant so much. So, the finances coming into the club at that time, the fixtures we were going to play in. I think we had Celtic in the last day of the season. I think that was Larson's last game. So you had all that to look forward to. But Hibs players will be uncertain after the final whistle.
Yeah, it's not great, is it? Do you want me to mention that you scored on Henrik Larsson's last game, or do you want to bring it up?
He mentions it every 2 or 3 weeks. Come on.
I didn't want to bring it up, but now that you do,
yeah,
it's a fantastic penalty.
My favourite, because you make many gaffes on this show, but I do remember, because this one's a bit more subtle. He told that story before, and he said that he scored a penalty, and you thought he meant for Celtic. The idea that in Henrik Larsson's last game, Celtic got a penalty, and they let him take it. Henrik, step aside.
He might have been the skipper that day and pulled rank.
Unbelievable. I would. But you scored a penalty for Dundee United in Henrik Larsson's last game.
I certainly did.
How did you go? What was your final score?
Beat 2-1.
2-1, yeah.
Henrik scored 2.
You're claiming
Henrik scored 2 and I scored the other.
Where did you stick the penalty?
Bottom right, trundled into the bottom right.
I thought so.
Yeah. Who was the goalkeeper?
Big
Oh,
Marshallona.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
I remember
the wrong way.
We had I was on the Daily Record at that time. We had an agreement with Henrik Larsson to get his jersey, the last ever jersey, and I was sent to get it.
I can't believe they trusted you.
No way. Did you get this?
Well, not personally. It was he agreed to give it to the Daily Record for charitable purposes.
Ah, right.
But
that explains a lot, Hugh.
I was sent to get the jersey.
Because walking off the pitch, there was a couple of Dundee United players that went up and asked for it. I'm sure one was David McCratton, and he kind of shrugged it off, not a chance. And we all thought, that was a bit out of order.
Why were you not up there early?
I think this came up before. Is it worth bearing in mind they probably had more than one?
Oh, without doubt.
Because I'm sure someone else.
Everybody got one.
Last time it came up, someone tweeted in and said, "Well, actually, I've got it," or knows who does have it. He probably had more than
believe
one.
me, this was the sweat-soaked version.
I thought you sniffing it was a bit over the top, I have to say.
No, it was the fact he was wearing it. It was worrying. I'd have had that on eBay right away, Hugh. I wouldn't have went back to office.
Did it fetch a fair bit for charity?
Yeah, it did. He was as you know, could be a difficult fella, Henrik.
Yes.
But he went into the press room after that game and he broke down and left. 7 years at Celtic, third top goal scorer in the club's history. He was overwhelmed.
Gutted that Mark Wilson tried to take the shine off him by scoring.
I know.
What was the score at 10? Don't tell me 0-0.
No, it was 2-0 at the time, and I stuck that away. I celebrated like it was 1-0 to us.
A lot of pressure on you then.
There was like 3 minutes to go.
Yeah,
I ran away celebrating.
The world is saved. Queen of the South have scored against Edinburgh City.
Wednesday night's show might have been saved. Moses has gone wide from Georgie Gent's cross. It was a bit of a half chance, really. Nothing more. Big chance for Lyle Cameron. Dundee shot cleared off the line. Because this is the bit that should have been, really exciting, where Dundee are keeping an eye on Hibs' score and Hibs are keeping an eye on Dundee's score.
Yeah,
they will be to an extent, but
be fair,
just have to go for it. Dundee's nothing to lose, really, have they? Yeah.
See if your Hibs right. You would, if you win the game today and Dundee draw, you're delighted they're playing Rangers or Celtic, but they're obviously playing Rangers, and Rangers going for the title.
Would you book the nightclub?
I would be celebrating tonight. I'd go early.
Ask for your bonus. Give me my top 6 bonus.
Yeah, I'd have got it well spent. I'd be on the credit card. I'd be gone. I've got to say, I'd be out in Edinburgh tonight with my Hibs tracksuit on.
You would be one of them. A tracksuit.
Mate, I left Rangers in 83, 84, and I was still wearing the blazer in 90.
Chances at either end at Fir Park. Sam Nicholson dragged a shot wide for Motherwell, but then Yuan on the break, off target up the other end. Probably should have done a bit better. Remember, Hibs lead that one by a goal to 0. Don't forget, we're at that stage of the season where you're looking at who's going to be switching divisions. Clyde are losing at Dumbarton. James Hilton's just scored, and I don't know if you noticed, East Kilbride have been confirmed as the team from the Lowland League that will take part in the playoffs. So they will play the winner of the Highland League, and the winner of that will take on the team who finishes 42nd in the SPFL. There's
a couple of options for the Highland League. Brechin's one, isn't they? And there's another one.
I think Bucky were up there.
Bucky,
they had played.
I think you're right, Gordon.
They'd played a few teams had games in hand and so on last time we looked at it, that's for sure.
We like Bucky, don't we?
Double check
the crowd that they brought to Celtic
I think
Park.
So they've now played the same. Brechin and Fraserburgh played the same, and Brechin are 3 points ahead. So Bucky are 3 points behind, and they've got a game in hand. So.
Well, if they come into the Scottish Leagues, never want back into the Highland, we know who to phone. We've got a number right through to them.
Former
Not my watch manager. Not my watch. It wasn't.
Quadruple change for Celtic. Write them down. On come Palma, Bernardo, Callum McGregor and Adam Ida. Off go Hatate, Yang, Iwata and Kyogo.
Well, they appear to be cruising second half. We've heard that little of activity in front of Joe Hart, and this just adds a fresh dimension to it all. And I repeat, into the final 20 minutes, you want McGregor there. He doesn't have to do anything spectacular. Just bring his experience to bear on everyone around about him, and the crowd will feel better for having McGregor on the pitch as well.
Such a different game now. See, when you can just bring on 4 players with 20 minutes to go, and players of the quality that Celtic are bringing on, I mean, it can only go one way. Fresh legs, quality. St Mirren must be looking over going, here we go.
They'll be standing there going, look, they're bringing on their subs. And then you look over. You're right, Mark, the quality that Celtic are bringing on.
It's funny because when it doesn't go against you, and Scottish football, as everybody knows, everything's seen through the lens of Celtic and Rangers, and you're almost focused. These are the games that are on the TV, and people keep saying, Why did the wee teams agree to this? Why would you allow Celtic and Rangers to bring on 5 international players against you? But do we forget about all the times that Motherwell play Hibs and Kilmarnock play St Johnstone, and both can bring on 5?
Just refresh the team,
and it can benefit you within those.
We very rarely see
fixtures.
4 at one time, like at Celtic Park. But you can just change half your outfield players at one time if you see fit.
Anyway, so another goal going. I don't think it was one that troubles us too much. Or Gabriel's piping up because he wants Banks O'Dea mentioned, because that's his team.
Where are they? In the Highland League?
Dundee.
They're
Is that where
next.
No,
I think they're Aberdeen.
They're further
Aberdeen,
on,
Well, yeah, like Banks of the D.
Yeah, right, Aberdeen.
They are fourth.
I think I've been there as well.
They have a slight chance, but they've played one more. Forget that. Sorry.
Gabe's played. Did he play for them?
I think his brother might. He can tell us the details. It's something along those lines.
Are
Anyway.
you serious? You had a look at Gabs and you're saying, did he play for Banks of D? Seriously, come on.
I've heard he's alright at football.
Aye, 5-a-sides.
You know, think he could get a bit in
Hey,
11s?
couldn't he keep a balloon up in the phone box, that boy? Don't. Give me peace.
Oh, get him faded up for his response.
He's not happy with it.
James, what are you saying about that?
Go on, doing.
The right to reply.
Was it him that brought the trophy? He's playing of the year.
That was the best day of my life. I'm sitting at Hampden, can't remember who's playing it, obviously Celtic Cup final or something, and there's a trophy, a football trophy sitting in front of me. I went, whose trophy is this? I thought they'd brought the trophy up before the game. Your man, right? Oh, that's mine. I went, okay. I was playing this morning. We won the final. I went, all right, what position did you play? I was a sub. He brought his trophy in. I'd have thrown it in the bin.
Shameless.
Anyway, subbo.
Annan 4, Cove Rangers 2. So that does shake things up a little bit at the bottom of League One as well. Although we said Marvin Bartley's Queen of the South were beating Edinburgh City. What else have we got here? Nothing doing yet to tell you about.
You'd imagine Tony Dock's throwing everything at Aberdeen just now. No, Aberdeen just got nothing to play for. Dundee with all to go for.
You would think, though, if Jimmy Phelan is indeed coming in from Elfsborg as the new Aberdeen manager, he will be watching that game tonight somewhere in deepest, darkest Elfsborg. And these players are playing for a job under the new manager. So,
did you hear the journalist who said he was the most boring man in the world?
Yeah.
Don't expect any stories. The Aberdeen press need not worry about writing.
They said that about Clement. Somebody came on this programme from Belgium and told us that Clement was boring. After last Saturday's post-match press conference, I would have to say, are you kidding?
Doesn't matter if he's boring or not. It's all about winning games, isn't it?
A bit different for us.
We're not here to entertain the press.
We like a bit of excitement.
Yeah.
Right, Dundee, this could be a big moment. Dundee do have the ball in the net. This could be a huge moment for the top 6. The flag was up, so we'll have a look now, because it will be checked. Aberdeen have had quite the week, having their say on VAR and line calibration and everything that goes along with it. So still no official news. Good save by Liam Kelly from former Motherwell player Chris Cadden to keep Motherwell in it, but Hibs do lead by 1-0, and this will see the end of any faint hopes Motherwell had of reaching the top 6, unless they can produce a victory here, and would be relying on Dundee failing to win.
So they're checking for what precisely?
Just to see if the offside was correct.
How you Motherwell fans feeling? All hope gone?
I didn't think that
it was always an outside chance, wasn't it?
Exactly. I had a conversation with Chief Exec Brian Caldwell today.
Text
your friend,
email, phone call,
text.
Has he got no pals at all?
Who?
Brian Caldwell.
He's got one. GD, me. We've been friends for a long time. Brian and I went through a lot of things together.
No goal.
Right.
There we are.
The drama continues then.
Big opening for his team. Theo Bair, I think, down the left hand side, really should have done better to pick out a teammate, but doesn't come to much. They get a second bite at it from across, but Hibs are defending well, not something we've said too often this season.
I think there'll still be drama there.
you think it'll be good?
I think Motherwell
will
nick
need 2
one.
goals.
If Motherwell nick one, they'll win the game.
Bold.
Yes, well, I was bold with my Hearts prediction. I was nearly there with Shanklin hitting the underside of the bar. Could still be a 5th goal there.
Who cares? Brighton have equalised.
Yeah, Luis Palmas had a strike tipped over his return from injury. Remember, off the bench, he's trying to get in amongst the goals.
He, on his day, can be a very important player, Louis Palmer, but been out a long while. But it's
frustrating.
5 to go, yeah. But 5 to go now for Celtic. 3 of them at home. So Palmer being back could compensate in some way for the loss of Dalziel and Mayhem.
Got another goal to tell you about. Where is it though?
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
It's been coming, I think. St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 2. It was Armstrong with a deep free kick, sent it to the back post. Stuart Finlay heads it back across, and there's Marley Watkins, taps it in to make it St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 2.
How good a signing's he been? Marley Watkins for Kilmarnock. Brilliant, hugely experienced. He's a strong, willing runner who knows how to find the back of the net, and done and dusted. I expected that was going to be a Killie win today.
Remind us of your question, Hugh.
I have played alongside Ollie Shaw and John Ruddy. I've been managed by Tommy Wright and Craig Levein. I won 3 domestic doubles in Scotland and a league title in another European country. Who am I?
Good question this, good question. Lots of interesting answers coming into us, so let's eliminate the wrong ones to try and help you along the right track. Let's go for Lebo wants to throw in Killian Sheridan.
No.
Right, okay. Mark Wilson, you think you've got this, do you?
No, Daz got it.
You got it,
but it's the equivalent of me getting to the byline, beating 8 players and squaring it across and him just tapping in and running away celebrating. That's because I've written down all the clues and all the clubs and he just came in and...
Yeah, and you still got it wrong, but I had to come in and take the glory and finish it.
That VAR check, that Kilmarnock goal is subject to a VAR check, just presumably an offside against Finlay. Andy Halliday's tried a header from the sort of back post, but it's just, I think it was a bit too high for him really, and it goes over the bar. Goal given, so it is 2-0 to Kilmarnock.
That's why he's a 22.
5th change for Celtic. James Forrest comes on for Nicholas Kuhn.
Again, we're going to the course and distance men just to see this across the line, and that James Forrest, well, no one at Celtic Park has won more for Celtic than him, including the captain, so he'll be a steadying influence as well.
I got to say, it's been a very strong bench this afternoon for Celtic, and that'll please Brendan Rodgers going forward, especially into these important last 5 games. Well, they're more than 5 games. They've got a semi-final, maybe a final as well, so still a lot of football to be played for Celtic, but they'll be delighted to get their big hitters back in the pitch.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be much jeopardy involved at the end of this game, Mark, unless St Mirren could grab something soon, and we've seen that. We've seen Celtic wobble a bit at the end of games, even at Celtic Park this season, but this, on the basis of the second half, it doesn't look particularly likely.
Well, no, not at all. Celtic have managed this second half pretty well by all accounts, but you're right, Gordon, we have seen this season alone that just out of nothing Celtic seem to find a way of conceding, whether that be from a set piece or just switching off. So concentrated minds needed just to make this last 10 minutes as easy as possible for them and send them away looking into the split optimistic, looking upwards and feeling good about themselves.
Well, they will feel good about themselves right now. 10 minutes to go, 2 up. James Forrest on the park. You would bet on Celtic for a 3rd goal rather than losing one, wouldn't you?
You would say so, especially with the changes that they've made. St Mirren's changes as well, when you look at it throughout the day, have all been injury related and forced upon them. So you think the effect that has on their team as well.
How's your team doing today?
My team, I think Thistle seems 0-0. We've not heard anything. 0-0 away to Wraith. I believe, unless something's changed. Queen of the South 2-0. There you go. Marvin can enjoy the last 4 minutes.
Manager of the year.
The big man's had a tough year. He'll still be there next year.
Yeah.
They'll be flying the flag. Are they still at the David Lloyd and Hamilton, are they?
Well, they train over that way, but
he is. Oh, he is.
I think
the team isn't he? So he's managed to negotiate a deal for one.
That's the sort of thing I would do. I don't blame him for that. Look after yourself.
The battle of the Scotland internationals in the English Championship today. Shea Adams scored for Southampton and Ryan Porteous has got one for Watford in the same game. It's 2-2. They're in that one.
So we await something dramatic and pivotal at Fir Park or at Pittodrie. Hibs, you'd imagine. I mean, if they can't hold on to that,
tired.
We keep you up.
Sorry.
It's great how you've got all the space in the studio to yawn away. You yawn into the mic. But look, we're talking about pressure, and we said before, if Celtic win, the pressure firmly switches to Rangers tomorrow and Dingwall. And on paper, it looks an easy fixture. You know, it's second bottom against second in the league, but it never quite plays out like that. And certainly the players won't be thinking like that when they're in their hotel in Inverness or wherever they're staying tonight. And that's what makes this period of the season so good, so entertaining. Because there'll be mistakes along the way, there's no doubt about that.
Ollie Shaw and Mark Ferry on for Motherwell, 4 minutes added. So I think the top six is certainly looking difficult. They'll still look to try and rescue something, get a point out the game. And if they were to score soon, then it would leave a minute or two to try and pull something even more spectacular out the bag. But Hibs have managed to hold firm.
Well, it seemed that Montgomery, he'll have his say after the game yet again about Dundee and the unfairness of it all, that they have the midweek game and nothing is decided yet. But what can anyone do? We're in a nature influenced situation here.
I was just thinking that there must have been one of those Celtic subs must have been a concussion sub. Or if St Mirren made a concussion sub, Celtic then get one, don't they? Because that's six players they brought on. Because we mentioned Nawrocki going off for Welsh, then we mentioned the quadruple change, and then mentioned James Forrest.
Yeah, 6.
Good shout, Gordon.
Or Bomono. So I think Elvis Bomono, when he went off for St Mirren, I think that was perhaps a concussion sub, and that means the opposition get one. Are you with
yes.
me?
Yes.
Would say. I was just wondering, this seems to be quite
I think at the time his injury was head related.
Yeah, I think it was. So, anyway, that's all we need.
Another void crisis.
Administrative error heading towards the end of
there'll be calls
this season.
Celtic can't get away with 6 subs.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
They have scored a third though, and it's Adam Ida off the bench to score at Ibrox last week. He's done it again. It took him 3 attempts. There was a couple of saves in there, and he finally heads the ball home. And if there was any doubt, I don't think there was, but if anyone was worried about a St Mirren late flurry, it's not going to come now. Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
And St Mirren appear to have been non-existent in the second half, totally anonymous. And Adamida does what he did last Sunday at Ibrox, scores the third goal for Celtic, having come on as a sub.
I think there's I think there's a serious conversation about where Ida is next year. He's clearly miles ahead of O, and if you're bringing a player on loan to perform and score goals, he's certainly done that. He looks a good player.
That's his 7th, obviously a couple of penalties, but you still have to score them.
Yeah, but going on what I've seen so far, I would take him next year.
I agree with you in the O situation just now. He's miles ahead of him. I said at 3:05 when the game started. Today for Celtic, patience. They'll eventually wear you down. Yet probably weren't at their best first half. Second half, they've been comfortable. 3-0, you'd accepted that all day long at the start of the game. So it's 3 points and over to Rangers tomorrow in Dingwall.
And also you get bad performances are hold on a second, let me tell you about this.
Goal flashes with M&D Green Pharmacy.
Goal Motherwell, they just keep doing it, and it is an absolute stunner from Shane Blaney. It's a volley inside the box. Always nice when your centre back pops up with a left-footed volley into the top corner, and that is quite the finish. Motherwell have been the comeback kings this season. I mentioned 18 points, I think it was, heading into today from losing positions, and they've done it again, and that's a huge blow to Hibs.
Yeah, it certainly is.
Dundee fans are celebrating. They've heard Dave Galloway stood up and told them.
Well, what drama. This is the drama that the last fixture should bring, and it's still bringing us a bit of drama, but I never thought that was dead at Fir Park, and Motherwell give themselves a glimmer of hope.
By the way, Motherwell going for it again.
Right,
and they've missed an absolute sitter. Motherwell, as quick as you like, the kick-off taken down the right-hand side. Ollie Shaw has missed from 3 yards out. Ball crossed into him and he hits it wide.
If there's a team you want to play against, other than Livingston at this stage, it's Hibs. How fragile they are after losing a goal. And that's a golden opportunity for Motherwell to win it.
It was the last kick of the game. Here's Roger Hannah.
Motherwell 1, Hibernian 1. They have Hibsed it in their pursuit of the top 6. As things stand, it will be Dundee finishing up in the top 6 after a share of the spoils here at Fir Park. A dramatic finish. Hibs looked as if they had done it. They led in 65 minutes. Mizuin Maya leader scoring from the penalty spot after Stephen O'Donnell tripped Will Fish in the box. It was a dreadful first hour here at Fir Park. You would never have known there was so much at stake, but then suddenly that penalty kicked things into life. There was chances at either end. Liam Kelly pulled off 2 fine saves to deny Eli Ewan and Chris Cadden as they tried to put this game to bed in the second half. Motherwell threw on Moses Ibai, Sam Nicholson and Andy Halliday. Ibai shot wide from Georgie Jent's cross. Nicholson then dragged the shot wide. Hibs were a threat on the counter-attack. Eli Ewan off target with another effort on the break. And then as the 4 minutes of added time were added on by Willie Collum, a lifeline for Motherwell, the comeback kings of the Premiership this season. A spectacular volley from an angle on the far side of the box by Shane Blaney flew across David Marshall and into the net for 1-1. Blaney urged his teammates back up the park to have one final go at getting the 3 points which could have put Motherwell into the top 6, and they came just inches away from getting it. Moses Ibai's cross from the right, Ollie Shaw with a touch at the near post against his former club. The shot just dribbled wide and it ends up 1-1. It looks as if neither of these teams is going to make it into the top 6. It looks as if Dundee are going to be safe there without having to get anything against Rangers in midweek. Disappointment on those sides. The Hibs players away to be saluted by their fans behind the goal. Motherwell supporters, they have stayed behind as well to applaud their team for their valiant efforts in added time. It just wasn't enough for either. Motherwell 1, Hibernian 1.
And I suppose, Roger Hannah, what it means is if, and Fraser Wisher was pointing this out to us, if the Dundee game against Rangers is off on Wednesday, there's now not quite the same urgency because the fixtures can be finalised. It could be played the following week or the week after. Look, they might want to kick the contingency plan into place anyway and get it done, but there's now not that same urgency.
You're absolutely correct, and I'm not sure who celebrated that Motherwell goal from Shane Blaney more, whether it was Stuart Kettlewell or Neil Doncaster, because it does take a lot of pressure off the SPF. It'll talk about a contingency plan being announced on Tuesday if the game couldn't take place at Dens on Wednesday, but now it can take place, assuming Dundee don't lose this game at Pittodrie in the dying seconds. The game could take place after the split.
So, what a day, what a finish at Fir Park, and it could have been even more dramatic. Wait till you see the sitter Motherwell miss with the last kick of the game to win and keep themselves in with the hunt of the top 6. It's a really weird atmosphere at Fir Park because both sets of players that are frustrated, or Hibs probably even worse, they're distraught. They've all got their head in their hands, as do a few of the Motherwell players sitting on the turf. Can't quite believe what's happened at the end of that one.
Well, an astonishing turn of events, and for me it puts Nick Montgomery under real pressure at Easter Road. The top 6 is the bare minimum requirement for a Hibernian manager, and he's failed to do so. The second half, the post-split fixtures cost Hibs an awful lot of money. And as I say, there were those rumours in Edinburgh this week that he is unsettled. The family want to go back to Australia, so difficult times for Nick Montgomery. Motherwell, I think, can simply console themselves with the thought that many people thought they were in relegation trouble at one stage in the season. Long period without a win. Yes, there'll be frustration over the last second miss, but the relegation fears were allayed a long time ago, and Stuart Kettlewell has provided the number one priority, kept them in the league.
Do you know what? I think the other games are a bit behind, so it actually gives us a brief moment, Hugh, to squeeze this in.
Okay.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I played alongside Ollie Shaw and John Ruddy. I was managed by Tommy Wright and Craig Levine. I won 3 domestic doubles in Scotland and a league title in another European country. I am Kyle Lafferty.
Kyle Lafferty, loads of you got it right. Well done. The following 3, though, were fastest. Jamie McCarry in 3rd place. Out of context, SSB in 2nd place. And Robbie at Killy Robbie, you're the winner. You've got the bragging rights all week long. Well done to you, Robbie. It's finished at McDermott Park. Here's Adam Binney.
Yeah, full time at McDermott Park. It's St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 2. Goals from Joe Wright and Marley Watkins have secured Killy's first league win at this ground for nearly 5 years as they tighten their grip on 4th position in the league. The opener arrived in the 24th minute. Liam Polworth picked out Joe Wright in the box, but remained in an advanced position following a set piece. The defender did well to hold off his man and swept the ball into the net whilst falling to the ground. Saints could count themselves lucky not to be further behind at half-time. Vassell, Armstrong and Kennedy all passed up opportunities to stretch their advantage before the break. Had it not been for the former Bulgarian international goalkeeper Dimitar Mitov, the game would certainly have been out of sight. St Johnstone, though, did enjoy a much brighter start to the second half. Match Kukuravi and Nicky Clark came close with efforts from the edge of the area, but Denny McGuinness' side managed the game very well and limited them to very little clear-cut chances. Marley Watkins then killed the game off when he made it 2-0 with 9 minutes to go. The Welshman has been in red-hot goal-scoring form with 3 goals in his last 4 matches prior to this one. This prompted the Kelly fans to continuously chant, "He's Marley, you know, give him the ball and he'll score," and that he did. A deep free kick from Danny Armstrong found the head of Stuart Finlay at the back post. He headed it back across goal, and there was Watkins sliding in at the front post to net his 4th goal in 5 games and 13th goal of the season. Derek McInnes' Kilmarnock tighten their grip on 4th position. They're now 8 points clear of 5th place St Mirren with just 5 games to go. St Johnstone, however, remain in 10th position in the league, 4 points above Ross County, occupy that dreaded relegation playoff spot. The Staggies do have a game in hand to play tomorrow against Rangers. Big win for the Killy fans. Get your passports ready. Full time at McDermott Park. St Johnstone 0, Kilmarnock 2.
Graham Shinney's been sent off. More on that when we speak to Dave, but it's full time Celtic Park. Gabriel?
Full time, and it's Celtic 3, St Mirren 0. Celtic 4 points clear at the top of the table now, heading into the split, thanks to second half goals from Reo Hatate, Kyogo Furuhashi and Adam Ida. There was an optimistic mood ringing around the stadium at kick-off. They started brightly, moving the ball with purpose, but they really struggled to break down a stubborn St Mirren in a solid defensive shape. And Nicholas Kuhn created a couple of half chances in the first half, but neither keeper was forced into a save in the first 45 minutes. The crowd started to get restless here with the game still deadlocked. They knew a draw could see the title no longer in their hands. They came out, the players, in the second half, all guns blazing. Kyogo had a huge headed chance within a couple of minutes, put it wide when he had to score. Thankfully for him, a few minutes later, Reo Hatate had a brilliant strike into the top corner. The ball was passed from the right inside him, one touch to tee it up and hammered into the back of the net. Hyung Jung Yang nearly made it 2 minutes later, but he miscued a strike from an Alistair Johnson cutback. The lead was doubled after another cracking ball in from the Canadian right back, whipped in the air with pace, and Kyogo was there to head it past Zach Hemming. A carbon copy of his missed chance 10 minutes earlier, but there was no saving it this time, Gordon. It was easy street for the Hoops from there. A substitute, Luis Palma, making his first appearance in 2 months, had a strike tipped over and a few more put wide. Adam Eder, James Forrest had efforts past the post that they could have scored. Eder did eventually make it 3 after Hemming made a couple of saves, but the ball popped up for the on-loan striker just to nod it in and get his 7th of the season. So yes, it is a 4-point lead now for the defending champions. Yes, Rangers have 2 games in hand, but they're not the easiest of trips. Up to Dingwall tomorrow lunchtime, and then who knows where or when they'll play against Dundee. And of course, the final Old Firm of the league season will be in early May, and it will be here at Celtic Park. Brendan Rodgers currently leading his team on a lap of honour around the pitch. You can hear the applause from the supporters. He'll be happy with where his team are. With 5 games to go, Celtic know if they win them all, the title will remain at Parkhead. Full time here, Celtic 3, St Mirren 0.
Yeah, comfortable in the end for Celtic. They do stretch the lead at the top, and it's over to Rangers to see what they can produce tomorrow. We do eventually have full time elsewhere. Tynecastle, here's Fraser.
Yeah, Hearts 4, Livingston 2, all the goals in the first half, scoreline much as we predicted. Comfortable win for the home side in the end, but it took some time for the Jambos to get going. It wasn't until they were 2 down early on that they actually had a shot at goal, and then they scored 4 in 20 minutes before the break to win the game. 10 minutes gone, 1-0 Livingston. Craig Gordon came out, but his goal didn't clear properly with his side foot. It fell to Stephen Kelly, who brilliantly lifted the ball over everyone into the net's worth watching. Great finish, first time with his left foot from 30 yards on the left hand side into the empty net. 22 minutes, it was 2-0 to Livingston. Atkinson threw the ball to Frankie Kent on the edge of his box, bad touch, he was robbed by Kelly. 1-1 with the goalkeeper, again the midfield player with a really cool finish. Hearts then had the first shot on goal, 29 minutes, and it was a goal for them. Lawrence Shankland with the low cross, he thought he was going to shoot, but he squared instead, and George Grant slid in to put the ball into the empty net. 32 minutes, a very similar goal. Shankland again inside left position onto a long ball, low cross. This time it's Oda who slid in to score from only a couple of yards. And in 40 minutes Hearts took the lead, and again in on the left hand side. This time it was Alex Coughlin, the left back, with the low cross into the 6-yard box, and Cammy Devlin slid in to put the ball into the back of the net. And then just before the break, 4-2 to Hearts. Michael Devlin, the skipper, shot with a headed pass back towards Jamal George. Oda nipped in, George fouled him, and Shankland drove the penalty into the corner. Really good penalty, sending George the wrong way. But as often happens, no more goals in the second half, and fewer moments in front of goal. Livy started the second half well. In 59 minutes, really strange incident. Tete Yengi had already been subbed. Bruce Anderson came on, but before the game restarted, referee Colin Stephen came over and gave Yengi a second yellow card while he was in the dugout. I think it was for kicking a bottle in frustration as he went off. Livy still were down to 11 men as this happened after the substitution, but there's a red card for the big striker. 61 minutes, Hearts almost got their 5th. Shankland, a fierce shot, it hit the underside of the bar, and great clearance from Michael Devlin before Vargas could head home on the line. The time of the game dropped towards the final whistle. Both managers made substitutions. Livy struggling to get near Gordon's goal, and their frustration, I think, was summed up with 5 minutes to go. The heads went down, lovely long ball by Michael Devlin, set Dan Mackay through on goal. The ball bounced nicely. He completely miskicked his goal when he could see the whites of Craig Gordon's eyes. Hearts take another step towards good firmly 3rd place. Cup semi to look forward to, but for Livy it's almost impossible to see them staying in the Premiership next season despite another decent performance today. Full time at Tynecastle, Hearts 4, Livingston 2.
And it's eventually finished for Dave Galloway at Pittodrie.
Yeah, full time, Aberdeen 0, Dundee 0. Aberdeen the first side to threaten in this one. Leighton Clarkson's 20-yard free kick testing John McCracken. Then Bojan Majowski got the better of Joe Shaughnessy, got to the byline and cut the ball back for Leighton Clarkson, but he shot wide when well placed. The D's carved out an opening from a corner, but Amadou Bakayoko's overhead kick went well wide. Luke McCowan drove forward and played in Lyle Camlin, but Kel Roos was good in making the block. Both teams having a go in an open and competitive first half which lacked real quality but was a good watch nonetheless. Lyle Cameron nearly put the visitors ahead late on with a shot from outside the box that skimmed the top of the bar. Dundee made a positive start to the second half. Lyle Cameron and Antonio Portales hitting efforts well off target. At the other end, Nicky Devlin teed up Duke, whose shot was beaten away by John McCracken. Lyle Cameron blew a huge chance to open the scoring for Dundee, who were getting well on top. Scott Tiffany with the supply. The goal was gaping, but Angus MacDonald cleared Cameron's shot off the line. Main had the ball in the net after a long throw, but the goal was disallowed after a lengthy VAR review. Dundee really turning the screw. Amadou Bakayoko poked his effort wide, but the large visiting support were celebrating when news came through of the Hibs score, meaning a top 6 place was confirmed. Their team was certainly really dominant after the half-time interval, and the Dons posed little threat. Duke headed straight at McCracken, and Gartenman sent an overhead kick over the bar. Home skipper Graham Shinney was sent off in injury time. A second yellow card for him for a tackle on Malaki Boateng. Not great preparation for Aberdeen then ahead of next weekend's Cup semi with Celtic at hand. A bit joy for Dundee. They're in the top 6 and their big support is singing in the rain. It's Aberdeen 0, Dundee 0.
And now it's over to you, 01419511025. What is on your mind after all of that, Celtic fans? I would imagine you were maybe a bit nervy at half time, but what was all the fuss about? 3-0, 3 good goals in the second half, and you stretch your lead at the top. So how do you reflect on that result and performance at Celtic Park? The battle for top 6, it went right down to the wire. It could have rumbled on to midweek. The SPFL hierarchy breathed a sigh of relief. Congratulations to Dundee, a 0-0 draw at Pittodrie. They have secured top 6. What does that now mean then, Rangers fans? The game is scheduled for Wednesday night. We still expect it to go ahead. However, if it wasn't, there is now not that same time pressure because Dundee have made the top 6. So maybe there's more to be said about that story. Motherwell fans, you came so close to potentially pulling off the great escape or great inclusion into the top 6. Ollie Shaw missing right at the death to deny Motherwell the chance. The equaliser just before does prevent Hibs though going into the top 6. Any Hibs fans, what do you have to say about that? And then actual football match wise tomorrow, Rangers fans, what are you expecting up in Dingwall? Let's do it all on the phones right now.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
It's that time on a Saturday night. It's the best time on a Saturday night because I get to speak less to Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel, and more to you to get your thoughts on whatever you've just witnessed this afternoon. I like to think we're now catching you getting into the car, back onto the supporters bus, the train, walking up the road, whatever it may be. What did you make of your team's result and performance today? That's always the priority on a Saturday. When you dig a bit deeper, there are a lot of other interesting stories. Dundee have made the top 6 and well done to them, so there's a bit less pressure on this rescheduled game on Wednesday night. We can look ahead to tomorrow's game as well with you Rangers fans. What are you expecting? It is now a 4-point deficit. Granted, you've got 2 games in hand. Does that still does it make you nervous because the points are on the board for Celtic? Or are you confident tomorrow will be fairly hassle free? Give us a call, 0141951 1025. John was at the game, I believe. John, is that right? You were at Celtic Park?
Yeah, I was.
What did you make of it then?
Just heading home in the car now. You know, when you've got the victory, sometimes you should just take the victory, but you can see in the park sometimes there's always something missing there. You know, and with Maeda not being there, the width in the park, somebody to take somebody on. Sometimes we're predictable in our play.
You pay your money, John, and I don't, so I can't tell you how to feel, but I do wonder if properly business end of the season, a few games to go, well into April, a 3-0 win, can you find it within you to just be a bit more content with that and move on?
Oh, 100%. That's all you ever want is a victory, but when it's coming to this end of the season, you know, the goal differences, we all remember the Helicopter Sunday, so the goal difference sometimes is that a lot to clear it, and then you see some players that are not so much in the game, but some people you think are just lacking that extra bit to show what it is on these days.
I know what John's talking about. You know, there's that kind of languid look about Celtic sometimes, and John's looking for higher intensity, greater pace to the game. And you know, Maeda, I repeat, I think if Maeda does not play again this season, I think it's a massive blow to Celtic. If only for the game against Rangers, where he comes to life, brings Celtic to life. But today was obviously one of those Celtic displays.
Well, first half though, I mean, nothing wrong with high standards, Mark. I get high standards, and I would take the point if then it was that type of first half and then it ended in a 1-0, but it ended in 3. Celtic were never in any danger. They've kept a clean sheet. Some important players have scored. It feels like the positives majorly outweigh the negatives. However, I repeat, John spends his money. He's the one that's got the emotional investment. So
I really think this has been a problem for Celtic so far this season. People over-analysing performances even when they're winning easily. And John, you're right, pays his money, goes to the games, but there'll be a group of fans, supporters like John, who will take the 3 points, but there's a but all the time, and you just need to forget about that. At this stage of the season, a 3-0 win is an outstanding result. Doesn't matter if you were poor in the first half, but as long as you get the job done. And by all accounts, Celtic were very good in the second half, and it could have been more, so take it for what it is. But every performance doesn't need to be analysed in comparison to what a peak Ange Postecoglou Celtic team was like.
But we can't keep telling John and other supporters that their view counts because they were at the match and then ignore everything they say.
Yeah, but John's come on, he's talking about goal difference. Celtic won 3-0 at home.
John,
today.
What do you think?
Man, we kind of keep going back to that. That's what everybody wants to go back to, the Postecoglou. We've got to remember, he's done good, came over, he's got his own team. We can't keep coming back to that thing. I mean, we need to see the day and see the fact that the Scottish League has not been this close in how many years, and it's exciting. It's very exciting, guys. That's what we're missing. Every game matters now.
How do you feel about Celtic's chances then of winning that league now? Because today on paper that's a good outcome, but you've had slight issues with elements of the performance. How confident are you?
I know, but that's it. We're analysing every single thing.
Will you come on to analyse it, John?
No, I think that is fair. I'm pretty sure Brendan Rodgers is going to have a easy amount of positives to focus on today, rather than the fact that they couldn't score. Because I think we touched on this during the game. When we talk about bad performances or bad first half, these are all relative. That wasn't bad. Celtic had all the ball, actually started at a decent tempo. They couldn't find the breakthrough. Fine. If that's what bad is, fair enough. But
I keep getting back to, I think we need to get away from this. If Celtic are at home, and John's talking about goal difference, 3-0, that's a good result against St Mirren, who are a decent team, well organised. But if Celtic are at home and they've not scored early, they're not cruising, people are thinking it's a bad day. Football is a 90-plus minute game, and with the quality that Celtic have got, unless it gets to that 80-85 minutes and it's still 0-0, I can understand the nerves. I can understand people saying, well, we expect more, because if you look at that Celtic team last week at Ibrox, in the first half they played some excellent football. Now, I wasn't at the game today, but if somebody walks into me at 3 o'clock and I'm involved with Celtic and said, I'll give you a 3-0 win against St Mirren, then I don't care how you play. Move on. Take it.
Let's get the take from Mo, who's in Cumbernauld. What do you think, Mo?
Hi there, panel. Good evening, everybody.
Hello.
Hope you're all keeping well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you know what? I was watching the game in the house, and sorry, the kids are in the back.
Don't worry about that.
I apologise. But I was watching the game in the house, and do you know what? I was kind of getting worried when Celtic were making the 6th sub. I was thinking, oh, surely not. I was thinking, but then I was scrambling about Twitter to see what the rules were. But yeah, thankfully, it was all okay. But yeah, just about kind of today's game, and I get the kind of apprehension from some of the callers and some of the fans. Obviously, I think in the first half was quite nervous, quite nervy, and quite passive in our play. But kind of to where we are just now, I think with the choices that we've got, especially in the wide area, it's going to be a bit touch and go in terms of who's going to play in the running, because the news is that Maeda could potentially be out for the season. So I'm just wondering if it's kind of an opportunity for Palmer to step up to play and basically show why we spent so much money on him in the run into the league. Just to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, he came on today, Mark. It's going to be a bit of a waiting game. Dalziel and Maeda might be back in a couple of weeks, and you move on from there and he plays a key role, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, look, Maeda's a massive loss. Even if it was for today, he's still a loss to the team. If he's back next week, then great. But if he's out, who fills that berth? Well, look, you've got a choice between Jan Kuhn, Forrest and Palmer for your wide areas. I think that's sufficient cover. Palmer's been out a long time, and like Palmer's hit and miss. I can see a lot of good in him. You can see he could be a match winner sometimes. He could pluck something out in nowhere. Some of the assists this season have been spectacular, but equally he is so frustrating when you watch him. He must be even more frustrating to play with him because of some of the things he does, some of the opportunities he takes to shoot rather than cross it, and vice versa. When he should shoot, he maybe takes an extra touch. So I think Brendan Rodgers must be trying to fine tune that part of his game in training, and it may take into next season to see the best of him, but he's certainly somebody that will contribute. I think maybe James Forrest could contribute quite a bit at home.
Only in my opinion, Gordon. I know Dies and Maida is very important, especially i.e. the Rangers games, right? Because he comes alive in the way that Rangers play against Celtic. He ain't going to be the difference between Celtic winning or losing the league. Not for me. It's only my opinion. I think he's a good enough player. Celtic have got so many wingers and covers that they can look. They're sitting top of the league. They've been without McGregor, their captain, best player apparently. They've been without Hatate, magnificent player, and they've been without Carter Vickers for long spells, and they're still sitting top of the league, controlling the league just now. OK, it's up to Rangers to go and win tomorrow and obviously beat Dundee in their rearranged fixture. So you're not telling me that one player, Maida, is going to be the difference with Celtic winning or not winning the league.
How important is Rio Hatate, Mo?
Pardon me, sorry?
How important is Rio Hatate?
Oh no, 100%. You can see the difference that Hatate brings to the dynamic of the midfield. That's the way he can play into passes, gets the play moving really, really quickly. And you can see the difference in Matt O'Reilly as well when he's got Hatate next to him. He's been such a bonus over the last kind of 3 games, and it's telling. It really is. But yeah, in terms of Maeda, and I see that the points that you're making, but kind of particularly in tight games, especially with the low press and the low block, the way Maeda can get and press at the fullbacks and get the balls in, like you say, that's going to be a huge miss in that pace and that tenacity that he brings. But yeah, Hatate's been a welcome return, and really, really happy to get him back. And hopefully, with Maeda, it's not as bad as
is what people are saying. We'll watch with interest this week. Mark, are Celtic entirely different when Rio Hatate's available?
I think he could be the one that's the difference between Celtic winning the league and not. I think if Hatate was out for the rest of the season, I think Celtic may have looked a bit different in these remaining 6, and include last week's 7 games at Ibrox. I think with him back and with every passing game, he gets fitter and better. And then his goal today, he shows you what he can bring in the final third. He's such an important player. And I think Mo's right. I think you see a difference with the players who play round about him. And Daz will tell you, when you step onto the pitch, you've got your favourites as well as players, who you like to play with and who you like beside you, how you know each other's games. No doubt about it. Matt O'Reilly would have loved playing with Rio Hatate, and I'm pretty sure vice versa. And the third one to add back is Cal McGregor when he gets fully fit. Now, if you've got the 3 of them fit for the remaining 5 games, then Celtic have got a very, very good chance of retaining the title.
Come on then, what have you got to add if you're coming out of Celtic Park? Are you agreeing or disagreeing with what you've heard so far? Get your calls in. If you want to talk battle for top 6, you want to look at the fixture tomorrow, Ross County Rangers, and if you're still not over the Dens Park pitch, I'm sure you could do that as well.
The games are over. The talking begins. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon DL, all here trying to reflect on some of the day's biggest talking points, but they do need your help, so give us a call, just like Martin in Falkirk has done, just coming out of Celtic Park. Martin, how was it?
I thought it was great, comfortable performance. Heard a couple of callers coming on, seeming a little bit nervous, but we're at the business end of the season. We've got our big players coming back from injury. Hatate's on the score sheet. He's took a decent 60-70 minutes there. McGregor's coming back. Vickers has got a few games under his belt now. Joe Hart's in his swan song season. So just a message to all the Celtic fans that the trophy is staying at Celtic Park.
You may well be right. Do you think that's where it comes from? You know, the first couple of callers, Martin, had issues with elements of the performance. Is that a nervousness that comes with things being so tight?
It may well do, but I think there's enough firepower on the bench coming on. Big Adam Ida's always got a decent goal in him as well. Kuhn, a bit hit and miss, but today I thought he did quite well. Yang was a little bit poor, but he's a bit of a development player. But I think Celtic are coming good at the right part of the season, and you know, there should only be one team in Glasgow that's nervous. Certainly after that first half performance at Ibrox, Rangers were the only team that came away thinking that they had won something that day. Another point I'd like to make is the volume of diving that we're seeing now in Scottish football. We saw that in the derby game against Rangers last weekend. We saw it again today with the St Mirren striker diving a couple of times, and the referee showing his hands for him to get off the floor, but yet no yellow card. That's something that has to get clamped down on, and had it been clamped down on, then Fabio Silva wouldn't have been on the park to earn that penalty. What did the panel think about that?
I've already had about 50 tweets today saying, I hope you're going to mention Reo Hatate's dive in the first half, and this is the problem, Hugh. You know, you don't mention that, accused of overlooking that one. Martin's telling me about St Mirren ones, which I wasn't aware of. Yeah, I think if we're all big and grown up about it, then, well, yeah, everybody, whoever you are, fine. Whatever team you play for, going to stop it, clearly.
Yeah, of course.
But Martin's got issues with St Mirren players doing it. Somebody else is tweeting me, banging on about Reo Hatate. We've been well over the course with Fabio Silva last week.
The core point with Martin is that if you have 60,000 people inside a ground, you will have many different shades of opinion. The first two callers had reservations along certain lines about Celtic's performance. Martin has no reservations whatsoever and is willing to overlook the goalless first half, where people had certainly very different opinions on Celtic's performance. So Martin is bullish. 5 games to go, and Martin's confidence now gets put to the test. Post-split, we don't know where Celtic will be the first weekend, and thereafter, and perhaps more importantly, where they'll be in the last day. But Martin is bullish, and he got enjoyment and satisfaction out of the game in its entirety.
I think particularly in an attacking sense, Mark, since that well publicised 2-0 defeat at Tynecastle, Celtic have played 5 league games and they've scored 16 goals.
Good going.
Clearly they would have wanted to keep the door closed at times at Ibrox last week, but other than that, you know, it's 3 today, 3 at Ibrox, 3 at Livy, 3 at home to St Johnstone, and 4 was the they weren't all league games. That was the Livy Cup game as well. So really scoring quite a lot at the moment.
Yeah, and that's where I think their form is patchy. You know, when you look at periods throughout the season that Celtic weren't playing particularly well, they weren't creating a lot, and that was a real grumble with the fans. But you can't argue that now. They've certainly got plenty of firepower. You know, it was labelled all season, Kyogo wasn't the same player. He's not scoring enough goals, he's not getting enough involvement. Well, that's shifted now. He's scoring goals. And not only that, when Kyogo's taken off the pitch and you bring on Ida scores as well. So Ida, 12 games or something, run about that for Celtic, 7 goals. That's a very good return for an on-loan player, and the conversation surely must take place if he's going to be a Celtic player next year. But again, he's going to be crucial for the remaining 5 games to go. And it doesn't matter if your form has been patchy throughout the season. What matters is the games ahead of you right now. And Celtic ticked a big one off today because there was pressure on them. And again, it's over to Rangers and how they deal with it tomorrow.
If I was a Celtic fan, the encouragement thing today for me would be when the 4 substitutes come on and then James Forrest comes on later on. I think they're in a good place. I said this about Rangers a couple of weeks ago when I seen their bench. I think it was against Hibs at Ibrox. You look at the strength of Celtic's squad now. 5 games to go plus the cup games, obviously. Yes, we touched on it earlier. Dalziel and Maeda is a big player for them, but I don't think he'll be the difference. I think Celtic have got you know, a squad with good strength in it, especially in the wide areas as well. But I think Celtic are in a good place, scoring goals, clean sheet today. There's still a bit of football to go. I keep saying it. I think Rangers will win tomorrow. I think they'll beat Dundee. I honestly think, and I know the boys are a little bit different, I think it'll go down to Celtic Park.
How pleasing is it, Martin, to see Rio Hatate continuing that return from injury, playing again, scoring today?
Listen, Hatate's a big player for us, especially in that position. But you know, the point made by Hugh about being bullish, overconfident, not sure exactly the wording, but points on the board matter. Celtic have got 2 games.
Bullish. Hold on, Martin. Bullish doesn't mean overconfident. Bullish means that you're feeling good and strong about your team. It does not mean overconfidence.
It means aggressively confident, according to the dictionary.
Like a bull.
Not looking for an.
Let's not split hairs over it, shall we?
Exactly. Not here for an English lesson, gents. Listen, God bless. Have a great evening. Glasgow is green and white.
It's a very profound note.
That's a great way to
finish on from Martin and Falkirk, who, well, listen, we'll find out. We're a couple of weeks away from finding out what colour ribbons are on the trophy, and I get the impression everybody's getting really worked up about it, as they should be.
Yes, everybody's getting bullish. Look, it's brilliant, it's exciting. We even seen it today for the top 6. It's exciting, the league's exciting. There's a lot of terrific games still to come. You know, you look to the Ross County tomorrow, that'll be exciting. The fact that Rangers, as we keep saying, can't afford to drop anything, got to go up there and win Dundee, rearranged game. I keep saying it, I think these 2 teams with the squads that they've got, and I mentioned it there the now, the way Celtic brought on those 5 subs,
6 in the end, remember?
In the end, yes. You look at Rangers, the squad that they've got and the bench that they've got, I think the games are too important. I think these teams will win these games, and I keep saying it, and I could be wrong. I think it'll all come down to Celtic Park, and that's even more exciting.
So you think they'll both win every other game?
Yeah.
I don't think you can give that guarantee.
I don't.
I'm not giving a guarantee. I'm giving an opinion.
It's not guaranteeing.
I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm giving an opinion because I look at now the importance of the games first and foremost, and I look at Rangers and Celtic with the squads that they've now got. They're getting back to their strongest, and when they're back to their strongest, and especially their starting 11, on the day they're too good for anybody else.
The excitement factor. And one of the earlier callers mentioned that we haven't had a title race of this nature for 13 or 14 years. The excitement factor comes with the last 5 games. You really don't know. There could be a slip up. We always go on about Helicopter Sunday. I sat there at Fair Park that day. Celtic won up. I didn't think the title would be going to the team playing at Easter Road, but it did.
Yeah, well, who knows what type of finish we're in for. We will find out. Keep the calls coming though. 101419511025. Just thinking, Mark, about, you know, a lot of talk about Rio Hatate again. To go back to maybe like the quality of the goal as well, sort of speaks volumes as to what he's capable of. I mean, it certainly wasn't out of nothing, but just the quality of the finish. If you are in a game where you are being required to be a bit patient and you're looking for that breakthrough, it's the types of moments that he can.
Oh, without doubt. I mean, let's be honest, Rio Hatate hasn't had a sparkling season when he's been involved. Remember how this season started for him? Well, he was out the team, Turnbull was in, wasn't he? And he managed to work his way back in. But a couple of the goals he's scored this season have been outstanding, shows his quality. But the way he took the chance today, the way it just fell to him, and very quick backlift, and it's a wonderful finish. That's what you need in those areas. Now, Matt Riley supplied it for large parts of the season. To have another one in there as part of your midfield 3 that can do that. Bernardo's hit and miss again. He's been there sometimes, but Hatate you can rely on. So it's going to be huge, especially if you're playing against teams who defend deep, make it difficult, pretty condensed, not a lot of space in behind. If you've got somebody like Hatate who can take a pot from 20 odd yards and hit the target more often than not, then you're going to find yourself a decent goals return.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think he's been massive coming back. I think he gives everyone round about him a lift, and we highlighted it about O'Reilly. His form had dipped a little bit. All of a sudden he looks a confident enough player. I watched him against Livingston. I thought he gave Celtic that spark. They cruised it there. Everybody used to say, oh, it's a difficult place to go to. They were always in control. Hatate 65 minutes. Look, he's a very, very good footballer. He's a terrific talent. And as I say, with Celtic back to full strength, they're in a good place just now.
Yeah, we're going to speak to Kevin, who's a Celtic fan, in just a second, but managerial reaction making its way to us all the time on a Saturday evening. And remember, the battle for the top 6 was very much in focus today. It wouldn't necessarily have all come down to today because of that rescheduled game, but the combination of results means it has been confirmed. Hibs were winning at Fir Park right into the 90th minute. They were looking good. Dundee were drawing at Pittodrie, but then Motherwell equalised. Motherwell then missed an absolute sitter with the last kick of the game, which could have ignited their top 6 chances, but it wasn't to be, and Dundee do secure the final spot. This was Stuart Kettlewell's take on it all.
Probably no surprise to myself or anybody in this room that it's something that we've kind of been renowned for. I think this season is playing to the very last whistle. I keep touching on the fact we want to be ahead in the game, of course, but you know, we get the rally. We've got 4 strikers and 2 other attackers on the pitch, you know, so it was all out attack. It was all out trying to get the ball into their penalty box and see if something falls for us. Because if I'm being brutally honest, there was no real great flow to the game for either side today. I think you guys will acknowledge that the conditions were really, really challenging. Even 10-yard passes at times, you know, you think you've hit your target and the wind's taking the ball away. And we know we deal with that in this country, but you know, it got to that point where you really have to go and throw caution at the wind and try and get the ball forward and go and see if you can put Hibs under pressure. I thought they actually dealt with it pretty well at times, with a couple of good crosses flung into their box. But when Shane Blaney comes up with that moment of brilliance, you think that I think there was 40 seconds left in the game and we did have one more chance through Ollie Shaw. I'm probably thinking that Ollie's hit the back of the net. Actually, was my gut instinct when he gets across the front post. But we left it late overall in terms of the season and trying to get into the top 6. And from my point of view, I can't do anything but credit the players, because we went through such a challenging period of time where I think most would have written us off for a charge at top 6.
Yeah, it's something not that people like Gordon Dale and myself will take much joy from, but something symbolic about Motherwell getting right to the last kick of the game, and you know, a season that has had its moments from comebacks, but all of it's kind of been too little too late, and that was the story today and in the battle for the top 6.
I know, again, it's so close you can almost touch it and it's been snatched away from you. But I come back to the point, at one point in the season it was Kettlewell out, and would Motherwell at best be in the playoffs, at worst be relegated automatically. So they are still in the division. And let me tell you, from a Hibs perspective, we've got a Hibs fan in our family who is texting me going mad because Hibs have flopped. And Hibs, with respect, bigger budget, bigger expectation, bigger fan base, bigger ground, bigger everything, and they are not in the top 6. And the Hibs fan related to us wants the manager sacked.
Is it that bad for Nick Montgomery? Is that realistic for you, Mark? Or do Hibs simply have to stop sacking managers at some point?
Well, you'd always like football clubs just to have common sense and stop sacking managers and give them a period of time to build something on. However, football clubs don't hang about. They have ambitions and aims, and they would have been portrayed to Nick Montgomery when he took over. The expectations, and they would have been top 6. They would have been the latter stages of the Scottish Cup and the League Cup, and he's fell way short. So he's walking a tightrope. He certainly is. I hope he keeps his job, because I see a lot of good in there, especially going forward. But he needs defense. We've said it all season. He needs a solid foundation to allow his attacking players to go and play and create, and he's not had that. So I would like to see him given another transfer window and see what he can do then. But he is walking a tightrope at the minute.
Couldn't agree more with Mark. I don't like to see managers losing their job. Hibs can't just keep going down the road of sack manager after manager after manager. They've got to stick with someone. I remember going to Hibs in St Mirren, and I was in the boardroom, and I remember speaking to directors of Hibs, and they absolutely loved this manager. Absolutely loved him when he came in. Now, Mark touches on great points here. Middle to front, he's improved them, no doubt. He's brought in some good players, exciting players. He's not addressed the back, so I think you've got to give him to the summer, Give him that transfer window and see what he can do.
Kevin's a Celtic fan. What are your thoughts tonight, Kevin?
Alright, guys. Obviously, really happy with the 3 points, 3 goals. I think goal difference could be a killer. You never know. So to get 3 goals against a defensively solid St Mirren team was good today. I just wanted to know what you thought of this. I agree with Gordon a wee bit. I think that it very well might come to the Celtic Rangers game at Parkhead, but I'm actually more nervous about the other games. I'm not trying to be funny or arrogant or anything like that. I'm not overly worried about Rangers. I think that game takes care of itself. I'm more worried about going away to Kilmarnock, going away to Tynecastle. I think that's where our Achilles heel kind of kicks in, is going to these other clubs, not necessarily Rangers. If I look at the last 10 Old Firm games, Celtic have only lost one of them. So I'm not worried about that. I think, in my opinion, last week, I know we threw away a 2-goal lead, right? But I still think overall, when you look at it, each half, which team played the better football? It was Celtic. I still think we're the better team, but I just think that we struggle against the smaller teams. I wonder what you think about that.
Well, without doubt, that's what I've been saying. So, Kevin, you probably don't agree with Gordon because he thinks it will come down to that one game. I don't. And how I struggle to see how you can think otherwise because of what's happened this season. It's all right saying that Celtic have got the best players and best squad, and so have Rangers, so they're going to take care of everybody. But you've had evidence this season of it not being that straightforward and that simple. Now, I'm not saying Celtic will lose at Tynecastle, or I'm not saying Celtic will lose at Rugby Park, but it's a possibility that they come away for each with a draw, or one of them with a draw, and similarly with Rangers. So nothing is a given at this stage of the season when you've looked at the evidence that's went past.
They will put the Old Firm game as early as possible after the split because they'll want to avoid trouble. Therefore, yes, you could win the Old Firm game, but you're not guaranteed anything because, as Mark said there, Rugby Park might be a problem. Dens Park might be a problem.
It's a fair point, Kevin. We have seen some interesting results this season. I didn't realise how close we were to the break. My apologies, but we will hear from Brendan Rodgers next.
Say 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
It's that stage on a Saturday where your opinions on the day's action are flooding in, as is the managerial reaction. Let's get the first thoughts of Brendan Rodgers after Celtic beat St Mirren by those 3-0.
Yeah, it's in our hands. I really look forward to this period. I think this is when Celtic comes alive. 5 games to go, trophies at stake, Scottish Cup at stake. So, bring it on. I think it's we're in a really good position. And when you know that everything is with you and you decide what your destiny is, that was why the result last week was huge for us, as well as the performance. I said yesterday we last week played really well. When we had to bite down on the gum shield, we were tough and seeing it through in a really, really tough environment. And that really bodes well for us. Now we know that we can play football, we know that we can play with speed, we can get goals, and you look at the goals that we're scoring as well. But we've also shown a steeliness as well, and that's going to be important for us in the run-in as well as the cup games.
Well, it's almost a dressing room speech delivered in a slower and less excitable fashion, but it is in our hands. This is when Celtic come alive. Bring it on. Everything is with us. Destiny is in our hands. We bite down on the gum shield. How combative do you want one man to be? Brendan is bullish.
Yeah, you've got to say that, over the last 3 weeks or so, Celtic certainly look a team in a different place. And, I don't think it's any coincidence it coincides with players coming back from injury as well. And, important players at that. Carter Vickers playing more frequently now. Tati playing over an hour in the last 3 games. And, of course, it makes him a better side. But Brendan Rodgers, sounds a lot more confident and he sounds comfortable and his environment at the minute. Brendan Rodgers is a manager who knows how to win things in this country, and that's the kind of guy you need in your corner at this period, because the pressure is going to be huge over these next 5 games. And he rightly says the Scottish Cup as well, we tend just to focus on the title, but it's a huge part of the season. Rangers going for the treble, Celtic going for the double. You just wonder which way it's going to fall.
Yeah, I think you're listening to a manager that's experienced in this game. He knows how to handle the situation, knows how to calm everything down, but still put that confident vibe out there for his players and his supporters. A lot of great football ahead, and I'm really looking forward to it. And the other side of the city's the exact same. They're confident as well. So, as you say, bite down the gum shield, let's get it on.
He's said that often, have you?
Anyway, 01419511025 if you want to get in touch and let us know your thoughts. That was Brendan Rodgers. We'll bring you some more of him, potentially more of your calls. Devastated, Nick Montgomery, Hibs, Gordon Dalziel. They were singing Twist and Shout ironically at the Motherwell fans with a few minutes to go. Right at that, Motherwell score, knock Hibs out the top 6, and this is how it leaves the manager feeling.
20 seconds to go and the fans are related and we're related. And 20 seconds later, it's devastation. So I don't think it's a game we should have lost. I think it's a drew. I think it's a game we should have won comfortably. I think we had enough chances to completely kill the game off. But if you don't take them, you make the wrong decisions in key moments, then you sometimes you rue them. And we certainly did today, because it's the first shot on target in 94 minutes, and we concede a goal. And that's happened a little bit too often. So we can say it's unlucky, we can say it's an injustice, but what we have to do is take responsibility and clear the header and clear the second ball. But it's a wonder strike by the boy, and it's the only shot on target in the whole game, and it cost us 2 points, and it's cost us a spot in the top 6. So nothing else but disappointed, devastated for the players, the fans.
But one man's pain is another man's gain, and that man is Tony Docherty. Top 6 for Dundee.
I feel an enormous sense of satisfaction and pride in the players. I think they deserve all the credit for everything that they've done. I think certain seasons, you can get teams that can get to cup finals, maybe even win a cup by playing 3 or 4 games, but to produce what we've produced over a league campaign, from being the newly promoted team, and the stats that I gave you the other day there, about 17 of that squad making their debut in the SPFL, 11 of them being under 21. And being the youngest group in the league, it's a huge testament to them. But I'm really proud at all their achievement. All their efforts that they've put in, and to have achieved what they've achieved over a season. I think it gives me a great deal of satisfaction, and I'm really pleased for everyone else.
Yeah, well done to everyone associated with Dundee. Can't have been an easy week, getting a lot of flack, but in terms of Tony Docherty and the football team, Mark Wilson, for a newly promoted side to do that, great achievement.
It is an incredible achievement, in fact, because the turnaround at the club was huge. Tony Docherty stepping into his role, that management role, for the first time after being number 2 for so long. That's a tall order as well, but he's did it terrifically well. There's been some great games in there, great results, and they deserve it, because you're right, it's a hard week for Dundee, but for Tony Docherty and the players, they've done their job. Their pitch has nothing to do with them. They can only do the football stuff, and they've done it very well. And again, that's another very good result. Away to Pittodrie when the pressure's on, and to come away with a draw when it's really needed. A fantastic season.
Just to pick on your point earlier, Gordon, where you spoke about the game midweek, or the planned game midweek with Rangers, I think Rangers are entitled to say no, this midweek, and if that park's not playable, we play it some other ground, because now we are the ones who are being disadvantaged, and seriously disadvantaged.
What are you? Because you then get a rest ahead of a cup semi-final.
Well, I think Philippe Clement, if I read him correctly, in the 6 months that he has been here, he wants that game played Wednesday.
But do you rob your fans of the opportunity? If it's played on Wednesday at a closed door venue, then you're robbing the supporters, which could be crucial.
I think you're robbing yourself, because you see, you touched on it today. Celtic had 60,000 in it.
Yeah.
Right, they know the importance. If you're a Rangers player, you want your supporters there. That's the backing, of course it is. Especially for these two big teams, especially in the run up to the who's going to be champions. So behind closed doors wouldn't be an option for me.
Before all that, though, Ross County tomorrow.
Yeah.
Rangers have to respond. I think everyone would agree.
I think they will, Gordon. I think they're obviously in the situation. Bit of pressure on them, of course it is, because that's what happens if the team that, you know, top of the league plays on the Saturday gets the 3 points. You've got to respond, and it's up to Rangers to go to Dingwall tomorrow and do that. I keep saying it, I think these two teams are in good places just now, good squads, good options for Clement to pick tomorrow's team. So I see Rangers going up there, and look, I don't think it's ever going to be easy, but I do think they'll win the game anyway.
Well, Ross County sit 11th for a reason.
Yeah.
And when you look at the goals against column, 54 conceded. So there's certainly going to be chances for Rangers, and it's, of course, imperative that they take them. But my theory with Ross County is I thought they would get out of the trouble because what they have at the top end of the pitch sometimes, and they carry a wee bit of a threat. So I don't think it'll be plain sailing, but I do think Rangers will have enough to get the job done. And then, over to that Dundee game on Wednesday, should it be played.
Well, yeah, Hugh, I mean, we sometimes put these things down on paper because it's a long way to go, quite simply. I feel like that's mostly where it comes from. They're travelling and it can be a tough place to go. Ross County's pitch is pretty good, and amongst discussions about pitch, yes, it's a bit tighter. Rangers don't really tend to struggle that badly up there. I know there was a 3-3 draw, wasn't there? Was that 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Diallo played that game, did he?
Yeah,
score
something
that was
like that.
In Davy, was it not?
Yeah.
But other than that, it's not a venue they tend to have too many problems at. However, Don Cowie will be fighting his own battle, trying to keep Ross County in the division.
Well, according to Philippe Clement, Rangers were moral winners against Celtic, and he won't want to follow up a moral victory with a disastrous result on the basis of a draw being a disaster and a defeat being a catastrophe. I think Rangers just have far too much for Ross County. I do accept the point about the likes of Jordan White and Simon Murray up front for Ross County, but they'll need to get the ball up to them first of all.
Yeah, Simon Murray's been in good form.
Yeah,
Mark,
he has been.
Is everyone then expecting Rangers to take care of that tomorrow and then roll on to that Dundee game?
Well, of course you would have to think so. You look at the quality in the squads, and if it's an assessment on that, then of course Rangers just go and blow Ross County out the water. But games aren't always played like that, and when you get 6 games to go and the pressure's on your shoulders and your rivals have won the day before, sometimes things aren't always plain sailing.
What a day it's been in Scottish football. We know the split isn't perfect, but it does bring drama, and that's what we got this afternoon. Hibs thought they were there. Motherwell had other ideas, and that allowed Dundee to stay in the top 6. All the talk about pitches and postponements and cancellations, that can wait for another couple of days, because Dundee are a top 6 side. Hibs and Motherwell are not. Celtic are 4 points clear at the top. Rangers have 2 games in hand though, and the first one comes at Dingwall tomorrow. Whatever happens there, we will look back on that and all the weekend's big talking points here Monday night, 6 o'clock. You'd be crazy to miss it, and the GBX is up next.
The Masters, teeing off on Now.
Now he's absolutely launched that.
Oh, now. Woods is in the woods.
Now that's just magic. Now that's a drive.
Oh, now he's just pulled that shot.
Oh, now is this the putt that wins him the green jacket? Now there it is.
Stream The Masters and all of Sky Sports without a contract. Head to nowtv.com.
Sky Sports content streamed via internet. 18+. Full terms apply.